Hello, welcome back to Video Game Podcast. It's Gareth, Kieran, and we're joined with a very special guest today.
This is Dougal.
The big yawn. Are you tired, wee pupper?
It's very early in the morning for him. He's with us today. He's keeping us company. So this is going to be our mascot for today. This is Dougal. Hello. Right. Okay.
He'll probably make an appearance at some point. He's a needy little pupper.
You'll maybe hear him in the background.
So welcome back to Video Game Podcast. This is our February news edition. Guys, you've been really good with the competition, liking and subscribing. We're going to announce the winner of the competition at the end of this episode. Mm-hmm. We're just going to throw up, we've got an entire list of our YouTube subscribers. We're going to throw up a random number generator, and whoever wins, unless it's me and Kieran, then we're going to redraw it.
I don't know if I'm subscribed.
We are subscribed. So if it's number 2 or number 3, we're going to redraw it. This episode we're going to be talking about the biggest news of the month, really, which is that PlayStation, Sony.
This is a big deal.
This is a really big deal. It might be introducing microtransactions into their single-player games.
Very, very, very worryingly so.
Yeah, but we'll get to that at the end. This is going to be our big story, so we'll probably be talking about this here for a good time. Yeah. There is a lot of information on this, and it is quite...
Yeah, it's all come through a patent, so it's a lot of legal documentation, things like that there. So we'll try and make it as exciting for you as possible, but it's something that I think all gamers need to know about.
Yeah, you need to be very aware of this. Yes. This is very, very important. So just a quick run through the notable releases of February. This is kind of handy off the back of our Street Fighter episode. This is the Street Fighter 5 You Want to Buy Champions Edition.
Yes.
Finally, they're releasing one with every single character unlocked from the start.
Have you bought it yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't bought it yet, no. But I probably will at some point, because £25 is worth a lot less than all the time it would take to do.
I mean, how much does all that cost in game? If you paid for all that, you'd be paying hundreds of pounds.
Hundreds.
So this has got to be the best value for getting money on the shelf right now.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about it.
When you think about it, which actually ties in quite well with our Sony story as well. Kind of.
It'll be interesting to see how, even with the hype of Street Fighter 5 releasing when it released, and all the updates, and then they brought out what was it called?
Arcade Edition.
The Arcade Edition, which everybody thought was going to have, but it was
like
still all behind.
Just like Street Fighter 4's Arcade Edition.
It just had the updates, but with paywalls.
Yeah.
But I believe this one is completely, everything's available from the start. All of the characters, all of the levels, all of the costumes, everything. It'll be interesting to see when this generation ends, which of the 3 releases sold the most.
Yeah. That released on February 14th. And another game released on February 14th was a game called Dreams that released for the PlayStation 4.
Made by Media Molecule.
Yeah. It's reviewing really well.
It's
hitting an 89 at Metacritic, which...
They make great games.
A Metacritic score of 89 is really impressive.
It really is.
It really, really is.
Have you played Little Big Planet?
No. Oh, Little Big Planet? Yeah. I've played Little Big Planet.
It's incredible. I didn't get as much done in the third one as I really would have liked to, but I went through the first and the second one with my girlfriend, and they were superb. I played the first one on my own, and then we played that one together, and then we went on into the second one. The third one, it was funny with the extra characters and things. It just seemed like a bit too much going on that for the two of us to play. I don't know. It just didn't work as well as the first two. And then they did Tearaway, which was a Vita game.
Right.
But it then came to the PS4, and it's another very, very... Cool. It would put you in mind of Yoshi's Crafted World, that decoupage.
That's actually a game I've just bought this month. Yeah. I'm waiting on delivery, so I'm excited to play that.
It's such a pretty game. It's such a pretty game. And it's the same, like Tearaway is very, very like it. They're charming games. They're like... Media Molecule make Nintendo games on consoles that aren't Nintendo.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. That's a very good way to describe it. Another release was Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collection, which you're obviously very excited for. Mega Man's not really my cup of tea because I never really grew up with it.
Yeah,
but this is your
they're difficult
jam.
Games, but they're very, very good games. Really rewarding games. They've got a very, very specific type of gameplay. In the way that the little character moves around. At first, it feels stiff. But as you progress in the game and you get better at it, it's not. You feel like you've got a little bit more control over the character than you should have, or something. It's such a weird way that the learning curve works in these sort of games. But if you've been playing this from like the 80s, like I have, you'll be grand. Jump in and play them, and you'll have a real good time. They'll still take you a long time to get through them, but
Yeah, that released on all major platforms through PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Next up
Mega Man game
is the Samurai Showdown release for Switch.
Not happy
because it's another Street Fighter 5 style game where
what is happening?
All the characters behind paywalls are DLC.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's crazy.
This is SNK on a Nintendo console, and it's got a season pass, and it has half the characters behind paywalls.
Yeah, it's insane what they're doing now. I mean, I can understand game DLC.
I despair. This is
yeah,
really
I can
worrying.
understand. I can understand game DLC, but whenever you're playing a fighting game, it's cool to be able to play it and then unlock the characters as long as it's not ridiculously grindy.
That's a format that has been tried and tested, and it has always worked. Probably the first one that I remember being like that was really successful and sucked me in so much that I put so much time into a fighting game that I would like an RPG was Tekken 2 on the PS1 because you had the full roster of characters, but for every character you had, you could unlock another character and then more as well. And certain characters even had 2 characters in the box, depending on which button you had, like Panda and Kuma. Do you remember? And Alex and Roger, the dinosaur with the boxing gloves and the kangaroo with the boxing gloves. No.
I've never.
You didn't really play those games. This is something I completely forget that like your exposure to fighting games is almost non-existent. It's crazy. But and that Tekken 2 game, because I wanted to unlock every character, I played through every single narrative of every single character in that game on the PS1, and it is incredible. And some people might think, oh, that's a bit grindy, it's a bit repetitive, and it kind of is, but
it's fun.
The reward
was
worth it because of the characters, So this way of doing things, yes, I'm sure in Samurai Showdown, much like Street Fighter 5, Dougal's running around here. So he's growling as well, giving off. So it's like, I'm sure you can unlock a few characters.
Yeah.
But it's more than likely going to be, I don't want to, because I actually haven't played this one. I hope it's not like Street Fighter 5 in the sense that you'll get maybe 2 or 3 characters handy, and then after that, you're into playing online and grinding your ass off. That's not good.
Another one for this month is 2 Point Hospital. It's released on PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Switch.
This is the spiritual successor to Theme Hospital.
Yes,
and people are going mad for it.
Yeah, it's doing really well as well on Metacritic.
And on it's selling okay on the PS4 and the Xbox One, but it's flying off the shelves on the Switch.
Yeah. I suppose there's not really very many games like that for the Switch, is there?
It's effectively an RTS game. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I haven't actually played it. What I've seen, because I mean, this is all anyone in the Nintendo forums are talking about seemingly at the minute. This and the upcoming Animal Crossing, which you're delighted about.
I can't wait for Animal Crossing. Yeah, I cannot wait.
It looks great, and it seems to have the same kind of humor as Theme Hospital, but it just looks really pretty.
Yeah, another big release for the Switch, Metro Redux.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Whenever I first read the notes here and you were saying that it's 30 FPS at 720, I'm like, that's not really impressive whatsoever.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And then you told me it's the same as what it was running on the PlayStation 3.
It's exactly the same.
And at that point, I was kind of like, all right.
Yeah, but
that's not my cup of tea. I wouldn't play it on the Switch.
But you're getting it on the bus. You're getting it sitting in the airport or at the doctor's or
I know, but I can play
on your lunch break.
I can play games like Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Why would I want to play?
Yeah, I know.
There's better games out there that are more interesting to me.
These are great games, though. The Metro games are brilliant.
I've played the first couple of chapters of 2033.
Yeah.
I never really got into it because at that point it wasn't my copy of the game. It was our friend Nerps.
Yeah.
He lent it to me and it was cool, but I never really got into it. I own them on PC, but I'm just.
The atmosphere's a lot of why the games are good.
Yeah.
And if you were I'm just thinking now, if you were playing it in mobile, you'd need to have a good set of headphones because playing it through the speakers on the handheld just wouldn't do it justice.
Yeah.
No. It would probably just feel like any other shooting game, but the atmosphere in the Metro games is
cool.
It's massive. Like, it really adds to it.
So that was February's releases, and then we have some really notable upcoming releases. Which there's 2 here that I'm very excited about.
I know.
Yeah, so the first one is one I'm excited about. In fact, I'm not really that excited about, but it's another Pokemon game, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX.
What is this?
So, Mystery Dungeon is, instead of playing it like the turn-based RPG where you catch Pokemon, you battle Pokemon, you've been transformed into a Pokemon, and you have to go about and like rescue other Pokemon that have been like lost in caves and caverns, and
this is sort of top down looking at it. It's kind of
it's very similar to
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening, yep. I've played the demo for this. I think this is a remaster of the first one that came out on the DS.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it is, but I never really played Mystery Dungeon too much because it just wasn't Pokemon to me.
They're firing out the Pokemon games at the minute.
Yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. And then again, last month actually they just released the Sword and Shield trading card game set in the UK, which is another.
Which you've been all over as well.
All over, yeah. Our local game store has released everything Sword and Shield early, by 1 week.
Yeah,
it's to the point where I think I walked in at the end of January just getting paid, and I just cleaned the shelves out of all the Sword and Shield Pokemon cards that they had. And then whenever I asked them about it, it was like they were the pre-releases.
Yeah.
But they weren't pre-released, they were just put out by mistake.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got a hold of these before everyone else, really?
Yeah.
And this was in a high street shop as well. This wasn't like
this
through
wasn't
some
online or
avenue.
something.
Like,
No, this was just sitting on the shelves, and I seen it. I was like,
that's a big deal.
They're mine.
That's a big deal. But I'll give you a wee story. He doesn't know I'm going to tell you this. We have a sort of system. I work with Gareth, and Gareth has recently he's moved on to a much better job. Ooh. Yeah, he has. And we had a little do for him yesterday. And we went and had lunch and a few drinks and that. And the tradition we have is we do a card everybody signs. It's like most places, and you do a wee whip round and people throw a few pound into it. And Gareth got a bit of money. What did Gareth spend all the money on?
Animal Crossing and Pokemon cards.
But honestly, can you think of a better way to spend it? Let's be honest, like why not? It's completely free money, and yeah,
why not?
Absolutely.
Why
just
not?
go and fill your boots with
I
Pokemon
pre-ordered
cards.
Animal Crossing about a week before that, and then I'm just gonna go pay that off.
So how much money did you spend on Pokemon cards? All in.
Oh, jeez, I don't really want to say. I don't really want to say.
It's okay. It was a lot.
I'd rather the people, because people listen to this podcast that work in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I bought one pack at £4.
Yeah, and then invested the rest in the stock market.
Absolutely, that's what I did. Anyway, so that's Mystery Dungeon release. That releases on the 6th of March for the Nintendo Switch as an exclusive, obviously. Yeah. Next up is the 11th of March, and it is a very, very beautiful game.
Yeah.
I've never really played it. The first one, and I don't really know too much about it. Wait, hang on, is this?
This is the one that's it's coming out on the Xbox.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Just to clarify, it's Ori and the Will of Wisps. It's coming out on Xbox and PC.
It's a very pretty looking.
Was this
game.
a PlayStation exclusive before this?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I have once again, this is one of these ones that appear, and you're like, oh my god, look at the visuals in that game.
It's gorgeous, but you don't really play it.
But it's a type of game that unless I was given it free through a subscription service or something, I probably wouldn't play it.
I got it free with the Epic Game Store. They give you a free game every single week.
Yeah.
Even though there are a bunch of
I thought you weren't going near Epic Game Store.
I have it because of Fortnite. And then I pick up a free game every week, which I begrudgingly don't download.
So do you pay in the subscription to Epic Game Store? And they give you a free game even though it's free?
Just having an account with them gives you a free game every week.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very, very cool. It's cool, but fuck Epic Game Stores. Well, I don't know. I can't say that. Epic Games have delivered some brilliant games, and they have the engine as well, the Unreal Engine, and that's delivered some games as well.
As much grief as you can give Epic, it all comes back to these are the guys that gave us Unreal.
Yeah.
This was when I was in secondary school, all of the LAN parties I was doing was either Quake, Doom, or Unreal.
Unreal, yeah.
And I'd be honest, at the time, Unreal was my favourite.
Yeah.
Definitely, Unreal 2 is an incredible game, and the multiplayer on it is superb. And it's a problem too, because Activision are the same. Like I said in another podcast years ago, you would go out of your way to buy an Activision game. You wouldn't know anything about it, but you'd see Activision on the little cassette tape or the Atari cartridge or whatever, and you'd be like, that's a good game,
yeah.
And you'd pick it up. But now I would actively avoid them.
Yeah,
it's mad how that happens. But anyway.
Next up is Neo 2. Have I said that right?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know too much about these games.
This was a fairly big game. The first one came out on the PlayStation.
They have very cool cover arts, and I'm sure if there's a steelbook for it, it's going to look awesome. I'm probably going to get it.
Yeah.
But
have you not played this at all then?
No, never. I don't know too much about it, other than it looks fucking brilliant. It looks gorgeous, and it looks badass.
Yeah, third person, and I assume it's just a continuation of the story from the first one as well. Yeah.
Next one, undisputably the best game released this month, coming in March. Animal Crossing New Horizon, 20th of March, Nintendo Switch. Cannot wait. Watch the Animal Crossing Direct.
Yeah.
So hyped. So excited.
Good.
I cannot wait to simulate life on an island. And I don't know why these games are so addictive.
No, do you know what? I'll get it at some stage. I'll probably not get it this gen. It'll be one I'll pick up when the new Nintendo comes out, and I'll maybe go back and play it. Yeah. There's just too much other things on, and too many other things that I want to play.
See, I've got a good party of people buying this now. So Philip's buying it. Gary from work's also buying it. Chloe's already got it pre-ordered with me. I've got it pre-ordered, and then my sister's got it. She's buying a Switch just to play this as well. So there's 5 of us.
So what do you do in terms of online? How does that benefit?
You just live in each other's island. That's it.
You just visit each other's islands.
I don't know if this is going to be the case in this one, but in the old ones, it used to be you're like, I would have apples and I would grow these apples to perfection, and then say my sister, this is how we did. My sister would have like bananas or pears, and she would grow them to perfection. And then whenever you start selling them in your own place, they're kind of worthless. But whenever you go to somewhere else that doesn't have perfect apples or perfect bananas, you can sell them for like 8,000 bells a go.
All right.
And you just come back and mint it. Like,
and what does 8,000 bells get you?
Upgrades to your house.
No, that's
furniture.
No, I understand. That's fine. Yeah, no, that's good.
More seeds.
It is. The more I think about Animal Crossing, it's really just it's a more accessible Sims. You know, it's just like a life management game. But also in terms of the multiplayer, though, I'm going to say this just to be a dick, but it's how different is it from Simpsons Tapped Out?
Simpsons what?
Tapped Out. Exactly. It's a nonsense shitty mobile game where there is no gameplay, you literally just tap. But the thing is, you build Springfield and there's loads of in-game microtransactions. You buy donuts to get certain buildings and all that sort of nonsense. Speed up the time it takes people to do. Yeah, it's nonsense. I think Family Guy brought out one, there was a load of them all around the same time where you can unlock certain buildings and you build your little roads. Is
that kind of like a SimCity style?
It sort of is. Yeah. But then in terms of the multiplayer aspect of it, what I can do is I can become friends with other people to play this game, and then I can visit their version of the town, and in that I can pick up more resources and stuff, and then go back to mine and use that to build other things. There's no real interaction between players or anything like that. It's just you visit there and you do a little bit of messing about, and then you come back with a wee bit more money than you left before. I mean, I think it's pretty safe. It's kind of the same, but I literally just said that just to take the piss. You know, so I understand why people really like it. I do.
This is definitely the biggest game releasing on the 20th of March. There's no other important game releasing on the 20th of March. There's Doom 64, which is releasing on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, which is actually really cool. I'm probably going to buy. Is this the first time Doom 64's come off the 64?
Yes. As far as I'm aware.
As far as you're aware, yeah.
I don't know if it appeared on the Virtual Console in the Wii. I don't think it did.
Okay. Yeah, that's a cool game to get.
And Doom 64 isn't one of those games that really suffers from fog or draw distance or anything like that. There, and it looks more like Quake than a Doom game, and even the atmosphere and the music and everything else feels more like Quake than a Doom game. But it's a cracker. It's a real good game,
in the next
and you won't have to suffer the 64.
Yeah, in the next episode coming, we talk about Doom 64 on our N64 console tour.
Was that on our list?
Yeah, that's on our list. Yeah, we played that. It's actually a game that gave me motion sickness, but you'll hear more about Doom 64 on the next podcast in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, aye.
Another game releasing on 20th of March is Doom Eternal, not really that important. It's coming out.
I have this pre-ordered.
It's coming out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and Google Stadia.
I know.
I can't wait to pay for a service and pay again.
and once I pay for the service, I'll go and pay the game.
But saying that, I use GeForce Now, which is exactly the same as Google Stadia.
Yeah.
But better because it's not Google Stadia.
Is that an NVIDIA thing?
It's an NVIDIA thing, yeah. So GeForce Now is pretty much the same as Google Stadia. Certain game developers sign up to it, and if you
need a shield or anything like that,
you need a mobile phone, a laptop, a smart TV, maybe. Even
so it really is like Stadia then. Yeah,
it is basically the same as Stadia, and all you need is a device that can connect a controller into, or you can have an on-screen controller if you're using it on a mobile or a tablet.
Yeah.
Personally, I just fire the Bluetooth, the PlayStation 4 in the Bluetooth mode, and connect it to my phone and play with that. It's pretty cool, but as long as I own that game, I can play that game through my phone on stream. It's just like a little, basically get a virtual PC. I've been playing The Witcher 3 on my mobile, and I've been playing it. I've been casting it to a TV, like, obviously.
But how does that look?
Fine.
No.
Yeah.
No.
How does it not look fine?
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I'll show you later tonight. I'll show you later on whenever you're on.
No, there's no way that this runs in 4K at 144 hertz. If you're running from your PC to your mobile phone and back to your TV.
No, you've misunderstood. So what happens is it's not my PC.
Yeah.
It's a server.
Yeah, so but again.
Yeah, but it does.
The only reason why I'm saying this
I don't know if it runs at 4K at 144 hertz. I haven't tried that because I don't have a 4K monitor that runs at 144 hertz. It does run at 1440.
Yeah.
At 144 hertz. I've tried that on my PC, but using my GeForce Now application
on the TV,
my PC.
through the phone.
Through the phone on the TV, it runs. I've tried it at 1080 at 60 FPS, and it's fine. There's a little bit of kind of like if you're using like PlayStation 9.
But by your own standards, that's not good enough.
No, it's not. You're absolutely right. But if I'm playing it on my phone and I'm just looking at my phone, that's fine. It'll play at 1080 at 60 FPS.
Yeah, I would have absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. Yeah. But I'm only saying this because of what you've said previously.
Yeah, no, I don't.
You would struggle with stuff like that.
I do. Right. But whenever I'm playing it,
but The Witcher's such a fucking good game.
It is. I've had it on tablets, like not like your kind of a Samsung Tab 3 kind of thing, but you know, like a tablet that's like a Windows Surface, like a Microsoft Surface or whatever
Yes.
they are. I've had it on those, and it's great. And I've had it on laptops like Chromebooks and stuff, which aren't powerful enough to run games, and it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really, really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's a really, really good way to get into PC gaming if
Yeah.
you haven't got a solid, strong PC.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, it's really opening up PC game for a lot of people, because that's always the big argument from console gamers. You know, oh yeah, my console cost £400, but your PC cost $2,000.
Yeah,
you know, for the same thing, more or less. You know, little small improvements as far as console gamers are concerned. But if you can now say as a PC gamer, well, no, that's not actually true. Just go and get yourself, as long as you have Windows 10. You know,
as long as you meet the minimum specs, which isn't very much. I think it's like 2 GB of RAM and a dual core processor.
Yeah, go on, £100, I'll get you a laptop that'll run whatever game you want, because it's all you're doing is you're just streaming. It's just like Netflix.
Yeah.
It works like Gaikai or what do you call that? PS Now.
PS Now,
Yeah, same thing.
So Doom Eternal, that's a game you're very excited about.
Yes, I know. We're allowed to talk about it.
We went off on a wee tangent there, but yeah, Doom Eternal, that is a big game, and I am excited for it.
Have you seen the music in the trailer?
I haven't, and you've told me about. You were talking about this yesterday when we were out for lunch. You were very disappointed.
It's not good.
What you call the guy that did the 2016 Doom?
Mick Gordon.
Mick Gordon, and he hasn't done this one.
I would be amazed if he has. It's nuts.
And he did the music for
Killer Instinct.
Yes, on the SNES.
On the 64.
The 64 he did it for, yeah.
Oh no, sorry, on the Xbox One. What am I talking about?
The
Sorry.
Xbox One?
Yeah, on the Xbox One. Yeah.
Doom Eternal, great game. It's coming on.
It looks absolutely incredible. There's loads of extra gameplay features that
if
will
you
run
played
at 100
Doom,
miles an hour.
if you played Doom 2016, you know what's coming. You're
Yeah.
going to have hours of ripping monsters' heads off and curb stomping and just gory violence.
I've heard a few people complaining about how much they're going into the story and how much detail they're providing, you know, around the Doom guy character.
Don't be giving this guy a story. He is just a mindless killing
it's
machine.
Crazy.
That's
it's
what we
crazy.
want.
I know that's it. We don't want to know why we're killing monsters. You know, take in the story if it adds something to it. If it doesn't, ignore it. The game is still amazing anyway. Like, you know, I personally kind of like it. I like how they've made it so that, you know, the original Doom guy was basically like, hell is afraid of this guy.
Yeah.
So they captured him and put him in a sarcophagus, and then based on the events of 2016, they woke him up again, and the guy just goes on a rampage, you know. And then you get the sort of Satan voice the way through it, telling you all these tales, basically from the monster's perspective, about this Doomslayer character who just tears around hell murking people, like, you know, and they all run in fear. I like that. It just builds his sort of
character a bit more.
And the way he interacts with other characters in the world is how you get the personality. The way at the start of the second one, where there's a dude standing there, he just walks on, takes the gun off, and pushes the guy out of the way and just walks on. You know, it's it makes him cool without even having to speak. You know.
Next up is on 23rd of March we have Half-Life Alyx releasing for PC.
Yeah,
this is a Valve Index demonstration, I guess is the best way to put it. It's not
Half-Life 3.
It's kind of the same way that Control was made to show off the NVIDIA RTX with the ray trace and everything. Half-Life Alyx is now made to show off Valve's Index with their new little finger controllers. Very, very cool.
Oh yeah,
very, very cool that you can now individually control each finger in
random video game characters.
Absolutely. There's another game, I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called. I'll pop it up on the screen here. But it was developed by the same people who did Hover Junkers, which is a VR game. Okay. I know them through the Corridor Digital channel.
Right.
The guy, Brandon Lang, he used to be on the Node, I think he still is on the Node channel, which is just like a gaming YouTube channel. He has his own development company. They develop VR games specifically.
Really?
And it's very, very cool. And they've made this super realistic, physics-y world where apparently if you go to pick up a box and it's got weight, even though you can like do that with your arms, it's going to be weighted.
This is becoming very familiar. Yes.
And in game, if you try to lift it,
I think you sent this to me.
I probably have.
Is this the one where the guy picks up the gun and turns and puts it back down and picks it up and turns? And it's because of the weight. It's he's
delayed.
He's describing like that this shouldn't feel as real as it does. Yeah.
So even though you can move, like if you have a heavy box, your arms in game will stay there, even though you've maybe lifted them all the way up there, which makes your mind think that your arms need to be down there and you're actually lifting up this heavy box.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool how they've done this. I will stick the name on it along the bottom, and I'll probably stick like a little link to the video we're talking about.
At the bottom, cool.
Very, very cool. But Half-Life Alyx is just a demo game more, I think.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to experience this. I have a PlayStation VR. I think if we're ever going to experience this, I don't know, unless we win the lottery and kit the house out with all the VR stuff there is, we're probably going to have to visit one of those VR zones.
Yeah, and they mostly use HTC Vives at the minute because they've been available.
So you won't
long.
even if it does become available for the HTC Vive, you're not going to get all the
fingery kind of
functionality. So it's this, unfortunately, is a game I'm going to find it very, very hard to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pity.
Next up and last on our list for the March releases is Persona 5 Royale, which is a game that Philip's going to be very happy is coming out. Mm-hmm. He is a big fan of the Persona games. Yeah. I don't know too much about them.
Never really get into them.
No.
I think I tried one on the PS2 years ago because I got it as a part of a bundle or something like that, and they gave it a go. And my brother ended up playing it. He enjoyed it. He'd be more into those JRPGs than I would, and it's just something I couldn't get into. Yeah. But take nothing away, Persona's a big game.
Cool game,
big franchise.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's the end of the March releases, and then we'll just tell you all the free monthly games coming in for the PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. So on the Xbox, you have Batman Enemy Within, the complete season. That's Telltale game?
No, it's another thing. I think it's based on the animated series.
Okay, cool. Shantai Half Genie Hero.
Yeah, it's sort of like a little adventure game.
Okay, cool. Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2.
I have never played that. I played the first one. The first one ends spectacularly, and I'm quite excited about this now because
Sonic Generations.
Yeah, do you know what? It is actually a good Sonic game.
Yeah.
It's one of the few Sonic games after the Dreamcast that have a 3D element that's worth playing, because the way this one works is basically the two generations collide. So you have 2D Sonic and 3D Sonic in the same world, and every level it works like if you've played the Super Mario 3D Land on the DS, which is basically a 3D world, right? It doesn't have like the open world maps where you walk around. It just has like a little level, and then you scroll, and then another level appears, and then you scroll, and then another level appears. It's just like that.
Cool.
But there's an awful lot of things to unlock. This is it progresses something like a God of War game or something would progress. You unlock new moves and new abilities, and he can run quicker and stop quicker and things like that. And there's real meat to this game. Like, the problem is, it's like all things. When it's in 2D, the game is spectacular. See, when it's in 3D, you don't really feel like you're always in control of it. It's almost like a third-person roller coaster game, and it's not really as fun.
That's your Xbox Games with Gold releases. The Switch Online ones that are coming. So we have 2 new SNES and 2 new NES games coming. The SNES games are Pop and Twinbee.
Well, these are actually out now, but it's because of the routine that
these are released on the 19th of February.
They came out at the middle of the month, but we won't know about March's and probably for another week.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Pop and Twinbee, Smash Tennis for the SNES, Shadow of the Ninja NES, and then Eliminator Boot Duel.
Boat Duel.
Jeez, boat.
It's just people beating each other with boots. It's probably better than that game, like, to be honest with you. No, Eliminator Boat Duel's actually okay. But the one there is Pop and Twinbee. Twinbee's already on the NES online, but Pop and Twinbee is the Super Nintendo version of it, and it's a side-scrolling shoot 'em up where you have a little ship that shoots like little fists. Yeah, it's actually really fun. It put you in mind of Super Fantasy Zone on the Sega Mega Drive.
Cool.
With that little ship. Sorry, go on.
All right. PlayStation Plus games, Sonic Forces, cool. And then Shadow of the Colossus, a game that I actually want to play. How long? I've said this before. I can't tell you how long it's been since a game came out on the PlayStation Store. And I know everybody's experience is different because everybody plays different games. Yeah. But it has been so long since Sony put a game on free with PlayStation Plus that number one is a brilliant game, and number two, I haven't already played or isn't free somewhere else. This is the PS4 redone version of Shadow of the Colossus, which was a PS2 game, and it is incredible. It's made by Team Ico. It was the second. It came after the game Ico, and at the time, I have to say, I kind of preferred Ico, which in hindsight sounds weird. Ico is a game where you hold a girl's hand. Literally the entire game. You have to make your way, and and there's no dialogue really. It's all the emotion is done through very PS2 style graphics and music. The sound is what creates the atmosphere in these games. And then Shadow of the Colossus is more of a third person element where it's literally just boss battles, loads of humongous big monsters, similar to like the God of War games, in that type of scale. But there's an element of guilt as you're playing through this game. You're not exactly sure if everything that you're doing is the right thing to do, and there's an awful lot of emotion, and especially at the end of the game, I'm getting goosebumps telling you about this because it
It's probably one of the first games that I played that really made me sort of sit back and like sort of think about the emotions I was experiencing. I was sitting going, why do I actually feel sad, you know? And a game had never made me feel that before, and I'm really excited. Now, they did re-released it on the PS3, but it was pretty much just the same game with HD graphics. This one is completely rebuilt, and I'm super excited to play it.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. So that's the free releases. And we're going to get into our main feature now of our big news stories.
Yeah, we have a couple of big ones, but it's the big PlayStation one.
Yeah.
We'll get to that at the end, though.
Yeah. So Sonic the Hedgehog movie's released. I haven't seen it yet.
I have.
You adore Sonic, so take everything Kieran says with a pinch of salt. He adores this character more than anything.
Yeah, he's quite an important character.
Although, to be fair, $210 million earned in the box office in 2 weeks. That's impressive.
It's crazy,
well
isn't
done. It? For a movie like that, well done.
And considering it's like, you see, if it was Mario, you could sort of see that. You know, if it was like Zelda, you could see that. You know, even Pokemon
beat Detective
Pikachu. Even if they were going to do something like, you know, even like a Gears of War movie, I know it would be stupid, but you know, and if it got that, you kind of go, okay, I can get that because it's got an awful lot of fans. But 90% of all Sonic fans are my age.
Yeah,
you know, it's a nostalgic fan base.
Yeah.
It's not a sort of relevant fan base to the same extent as something like Mario would be, because like every kid in the street knows who Mario is, and the vast majority of them will probably know who Sonic is, but they wouldn't be fans in the same way, you know.
Absolutely.
Like my little nephew's a perfect example of that. Knows who Sonic is, and I've said to him about the Sonic movie, and he's like, nah. You know. But if it was Mario, he'd be there in 2 seconds. You know, the movie is actually very good. Jim Carrey is incredible. He's brilliant. It's the best thing he's done since Pet Detective.
And you can't really even say that movie's done so well just because of Jim Carrey, because even Detective Pikachu had big actors in it, like Ryan Reynolds voiced Pikachu.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds voiced
Wow.
Pikachu. Yeah, he voiced them, and that was their kind of big selling point. And same way that Jim Carrey being in this is kind of a good selling point for the movie, but you can't really put it down to Sonic.
Jim Carrey's been a bit of a because there's an awful lot of people actually don't like him now because he had a wee bit of a, you know, he went a wee bit off the deep end there a few years ago, but that was all within context, and I'm not sure it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like if you want to experience Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Jim Carrey in 2020, go and watch the Sonic movie. He's mad in it. It's brilliant. The animation, like I read it before I went and seen the movie, but that Jim Carrey is more animated than Sonic, and I can completely understand why they say that. But it's a funny film. You'll laugh at it because it's funny. And if you have the same sort of nostalgia as me, be careful, because there's parts of this that might actually make you a little bit emotional, because this is something that was so important to me as a child. Yeah. That for them not only to make a movie, but for them to make a movie that's so good, and for them to make a movie that has sold so well, it makes me feel a bit proud when I shouldn't be. It's got nothing to do with me, like. But there's parts like whenever I'll not tell you, but there's certain bits in the movie where, specifically for fans of it, it'll hit you, you know. Yeah. Very good film.
Yeah. Out of 10? Do you want to give it a rating out of 10?
Oh, no. Like, if we're comparing it to the likes of Shawshank Redemption and other actual films, I'm gonna go like 7. But in comparison, like, this is the best video game adaptation ever. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Best live action one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Live action one, because
animated cartoons don't really count because they're easy to do.
Yeah. Next up, the Konami Code creator Kazuhisa Hashimoto dies at age 61.
I know.
Which is, I mean, that's life, unfortunately. But up, down, left, right, BA start.
Hold on. Is it written down?
It is written down there, but I'm in T&I contact with you that whole time because I do know it. No,
I'd be surprised if you don't. It's probably the most famous input code ever.
Wasn't there? There was an Easter egg on the Google Stadia controller, which had the Konami code inscribed on the back of it.
Wow, really? Yeah. I didn't know that. Really?
In the trailer, I don't know if it's on the actual physical controllers now. Okay. But in the trailer, on the back of it, where the serial number's supposed to go, it just said up, down, left, right.
No way, really?
I've maintained eye contact that time. I didn't look at it.
I've seen a lot of people doing like they've tattoos of it up their arms.
Yeah. It's very iconic. It is really iconic. To the point where I was telling you to name your new band Konami Code.
No, that would be such a good name for a band, wouldn't it? Konami Code. That's so close. That's good. The reason why, I think everybody will have their own experience of the Konami Code, but my big experience with it, and the reason why that picture specifically is there, is because I have never beat Contra without it.
Never beat Contra without it. No.
Gives you 30 lives, and I need them all.
I
need them all. It's a very difficult game.
Yeah, so that's a bit of sad news,
Yeah.
but he'll not be forgotten. He's inscribed his legacy.
That's
into
it
the
forever.
world. Yeah,
That's it
that'll go for history forever. So I'm sure everybody's aware of the coronavirus that's happening right now.
What's this?
The coronavirus is an epidemic which I personally believe has been blown out of proportion, because it's still at the point whenever you scale it up, people die from the common cold more often than people have died from coronavirus when you do it at scale. But
it has the potential to become something.
We'll not get into
huge,
it. We'll not get into the politics of it. It is impacting gaming and sports as well.
It's an impact on everything, really.
Yeah, it really has. So before we get into the gaming part of it, I have supposed to be going to a sporting event next week, and it's been cancelled because of it, which is like mind blowing, because there's maybe
what is it?
There's the Ireland versus Italy game. The rugby game, Six Nations game.
Of course, yeah.
I was going to that. It's been pulled off because of the coronavirus, because it's the Italian tourists will still come around, but there's only been one case in Northern Ireland where we are.
In Belfast, there's a woman,
who came from Italy and travelled up the train from Dublin.
Exactly.
That's the only case.
That's where we record our podcast here in Belfast, and the big hospital. I think she's there, isn't she? The Royal Victoria.
Yeah, they've got her quarantined and contained, so it's not. And she brought a child with her as well. They're doing tests on the child to figure it all out. So it's not too bad. And even down south, there's not really any confirmed cases of it either.
I heard this morning they've got all sorts of vaccinations and different sort of things in the process. They're expecting something within a couple of weeks.
It's working out, but it is really affecting not only just kind of sporting events, but gaming events as well. The Overwatch League have cancelled all their events. And LCS has been cancelled it's been postponed indefinitely in Japan, I think it was. Yeah. The Japanese one was
I think I'm not right in saying that the Overwatch one was moved to Korea, but then because of the outbreak in Korea it was completely binned altogether.
Completely, which is really, really big, because these are two really big leagues. So the Overwatch League and LCS are arguably...
Well, this is the crossover between games and sport.
Yeah, they're arguably the two biggest esports events. And the only reason these have been cancelled, by the way, is not because... any players are infected or any fans.
It's just precaution.
It's just because it's precaution because of a large gathering of people.
Yeah,
absolutely. A lot of people will be like, well, sure, everybody's still going to travel there and do what they want to do, but the thing is they're getting rid of that large gathering of people. The best example is the Aviva Stadium is 60, 70,000 people. Yeah. Now there may be like 5,000-6,000 Italian fans coming over, and they still probably will come over, but it's the other 60,000 people that are going to be there that are now no longer going to be coming to this one place.
Well, this is it. I mean, in an arena, something like that, there, especially if it's closed in, and it just takes one person with the flu to give to everybody around them, and then
the Taipei Game Show was planned on February 6th to 9th, and it was postponed until June.
Yeah.
There have been several vendors have withdrawn from PAX East, including Sony, Square Enix, EA, Capcom,
that's going on at
Project Red as well.
The event is still happening, but it's the
people pulled out of
it.
I'm pretty sure Kojima Productions have pulled out of something as well. I was reading that.
Yeah, go on ahead. It'll come to me if it's not already
Game
on there.
Developers Conference, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next one's cool. Sony again pulled out of that. Facebook, Oculus. I thought they were the two. Are they not the same? Facebook and Oculus?
I don't know.
I think okay. Then the Switch.
I've written it as it has been reported.
Yeah, there's been a lot of because the production mainly occurs in China across the globe. There's been a lot of production lines hit. The Outer Worlds release for the Switch has been delayed.
Yes, I know,
which is pretty big. And
that's nuts, isn't it?
Then there's Switch develop the production of Switch, the actual Switch consoles
in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But then
just quarantines,
and as a result of that, it's to do with certain components not being available or something because of the slowdown in production. And they believe, I hope I've got this right, correct me if I'm wrong, but they believe that because of the impact it's having on Vietnam, it's going to then spread to other parts, and eventually the likes of North America, Europe could see a massive shortage in Switch consoles.
Yeah, I'm for Vietnam in May as well.
God, that's right.
Yeah.
I never even. Oh God, right enough. I'm gonna have to do this podcast on my own.
I'm gonna have to. I'll be in quarantine for 2 weeks anyway.
I'll just
record nothing but podcasts.
I'll stick Dougal in the chair. He'll probably contribute more anyway.
Yeah, probably, to be honest. Going back to our releases as well, Half-Life Alyx, which was the showcase for the Valve Index, they believe they're going to have fewer units for it as well.
Yeah.
They're expecting Half-Life Alyx to be a big seller for the Valve Index, but they're now being shorted on the amount of units that are being produced because of this. So these real world events are hitting.
This is
everybody.
See, when you see it on the shelf, it's a bit like sort of recession, things like that, austerity, and people go, oh, sure, it's not affecting me. And then they go to the shop to buy a carton of milk and it's twice the price it used to be. Then people go, oh my God, this is really happening. If you know, I know people breeze through life, and why would you sit and worry about coronavirus every single day? Because, you know, you'd go insane. But if you think this isn't a big deal and you think it's having no impact, Switch players should have Outer Worlds, but they're not going to get it.
Yeah,
that's really happening. Yeah. Now, you will get it eventually, but as a result of this, you're not going to get it for a while.
Yeah. So
that kind of sucks. That's a big game, like.
That is, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's actually something I've been wanting to play. Outer Worlds,
very good. Like
you've had it on Xbox. I played it on Xbox on the Game Pass. I need to look and see if I can get it on PC's Game Pass, and that's whenever I'll play it. I've just been too lazy. Yeah. It's one of those things that I'll go into the high street shops and I'll be like, oh yeah, Outer Worlds, and I'll go to buy it. I'm like, wait, no, why would I buy it when I can just get it on Game Pass?
And then you go home and stick Call of Duty on, forget about it.
Exactly.
I totally understand. Yeah, totally understand.
So. Yeah, that's pretty scary that we're going to be a little bit short, but at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, at least.
Not yet.
Not yet. Again, going back, this is, Resident Evil. It's happening. It's coming.
Here we go.
I'm joking.
All right. I thought you were going to go into another one there.
I don't have any new ones.
Did you know? The guy who invented the name coronavirus is called Jill Valentine.
Although saying that, I've been reading a lot. Corona, the actual beer brand, the Mexican beer, they've lost $138 million of revenue because of this.
Yeah, I've seen the meme where the shopping trolley and all the different types of beer all on one side of the shopping trolley, and there's a wee Corona at the top on its own.
Yeah, they've lost quite a lot of money because of this, which is just bad naming, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, God, they couldn't have possibly known.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah. So next up in our stories we have the Atari VCS release.
Yes,
it's just around the corner.
Yeah.
So this system was revealed in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
The pre-orders began a year later in 2018, and it's coming out in 2020. That's a very, very long process.
I mean, there was an awful lot of ups and downs in this one. There was community backlash. There was all sorts. It was basically it's like all things. If something takes too long, okay, people can get their head around it as long as they know why.
Yeah.
But
has this been radio silence?
For periods, there was nothing coming out. So that's what creates the animosity and things like that. But I'm moderately excited for this. I expect it's going to be something like Stadia. It's going to be something you plug in and it'll be a streaming service. Maybe it might have a fairly big hard drive you can download the odd game onto, but this is going to be a digital-only console. It will obviously have all of the Atari things on it. You can probably play 2600 games. I can't imagine there's going to be too many people going out to buy this specifically to play the original 2600 games. No. But the good thing is it will have modern games too. What it's going to have, who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
So it's a wee bit up in the air. The one thing that stands out for me about this console more than any other console that I've probably seen in the last maybe 30 years, this thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, it is really pretty. Looking at it looks like a modern version of the Woody 2600.
It is so
and you even get the original Joy-Con, or not the original. You get a Joy-Con with two buttons on it. It's very, very cool.
You do. It's very cool. You'll get like an Xbox style control pad, but they do also give you the little Atari joystick.
And the other thing I like about it is the name.
The VCS.
The VCS, the video computer system.
Yes, exactly.
That was what it was. The 2600 was originally called, right?
Yes,
and then they renamed it later on, like a decade later, to 2600.
1984. Did they two? Oh dang! I knew it was nearly like 10 years later because it came out in 77.
Yeah.
So that was only 5 years later.
5 years. Sorry, yeah.
That was the year I was born.
You're really old.
Yeah, I've been playing games quite a while now, actually. I think about
You're really old.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was another 12 years out.
Oh, it's crazy.
So that's that story, and then now we're really into we're going into the deep end now. Brace yourself. We're going to be talking about this for a good while, I think.
And rightly so. It's
there is a lot to this story. Kieran, you've done a lot of research into it, and I have read your research for once. I have read your research.
Yeah.
And so for those of you that probably don't know, we're about to tell you, Sony are they've submitted a patent which is going to possibly be on the PlayStation 5, most likely going to be on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Basically, the diagram that they submitted is a person talking Alexa-esque to their PlayStation console.
Exactly it, yeah.
And the question that they're asking is, hey, PlayStation, how do I beat this boss?
Yeah.
And the PlayStation, there's the little diagram shows the PlayStation going off to its little cloud-based service, looking at how everybody else has done it, and being like, well, 80% of players have...
And I'll stop you there.
Okay.
Right. So when this first came out, it was kind of leaked, and a lot of people seen this and thought, oh, this is sort of like a mentoring or a tutorial sort of mode within the PS5. And this is a good thing, right? It basically, what it will do is it's a monitoring system that will monitor how gamers play the game. And then after a period of time, you know, when it's like people who play it on day one are probably not going to experience these sort of things.
Yeah.
But if you play it maybe 6 months later, your experience is going to be very different from the first guy, because you will have the potential for the console itself to actually come in and say, I see you've lost 4 or 5 times on this particular boss. Did you know that 99% of players beat the boss using this item?
Yeah.
Right? And then that gives you a little title, you know, a little tip. And, you know, especially for young gamers or people that maybe just aren't very good, that's great. I mean, it allows them to progress through the game and stuff, and it makes them feel as though they've achieved it themselves because they did use this thing or whatever and they beat it that way. However, this, a lot more information about this patent has come out, and it's a lot more sinister than that. It's not for the purpose of helping users as the way it has previously been portrayed. It's for the purpose of making money.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
The thing with Sony, as we all know, is their first party games. That's the USP for Sony consoles. If you want really good first party narrative driven games, go to the PlayStation. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But Sean Layden, he's the former CEO of SIE, just left there last year. We covered that in the 2019 review. He was quoted as saying, I do have it there handy, he says basically that the multi-service...
Yeah, so I'm trying to find the quote. He said that the multiplayer live services were a weakness of PlayStation. He said that's an area where you will likely see start to make more noise in the new term. Yeah. So basically what that's saying is that they're going to make more noise in multiplayer online services. So Sony are going to start focusing a lot more on the likes of the things that, you know, that you'd associate with Activision or Ubisoft or even Microsoft, you know, which is okay. That's totally fine. But that's the first thing, and why that's relevant. It does show that Sony are changing their sort of their dynamic, their focus, you know, and we have a lot more information now about this patent, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to try and explain it as best as we possibly can. Bear with us because it does get a wee bit deep. Yeah, this is it's interesting. Like microtransaction in single player games isn't anything new at the minute. No, it's been I think the best examples of it are Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where you can choose between basically doing like 10-15 hours worth of grinding in the game, or pay like a small fee and basically get taken straight to the end of the game. Get
a little boost. Maybe it'll give you an XP, or it'll give you a weapon that'll progress you a lot quicker. Yeah.
And another example of it would have been Shadow of Earth Middle War. Or sorry, Shadow... wow, gee, I butchered that. Middle Earth Shadow of War. Jesus Christ, what the... Whoa.
It's because you're reading and thinking at the same time.
Did I have a stroke?
No. Okay.
The quote-unquote real ending was hidden behind a paywall.
Pretty much. Or like 20 hours of grinding.
Yeah, now they have removed that paywall, but you still have to do the grind now.
Oh, absolutely.
Which they haven't changed the game. They haven't cut that part out. They've left it in there. And now you don't really even have the option to pay to get through it.
You might remember on a previous podcast, I said I was playing Middle Earth Shadow of War, and I complained that it was so grindy, so repetitive. It felt like an Assassin's Creed game. Mm-hmm. Now, I wasn't previously aware of this because I literally only just got into that game. But since doing a bit of research, I now realise why that game was like that. Mm-hmm. Because the game is set up to bore you to the point where you go, God, I just want to get through this. And then it'll come up and say, for $2.99 you can buy this XP boost that means you don't have to do the next 10 hours of repetitive nonsense. And you're like, well, okay, for £3, I'll save save myself 10 hours. You jump into it, you get to progress with the game, and they get their £3. But then obviously because it was a community backlash, that was removed, but the gameplay dynamic is still there.
Yeah.
And I played through this.
You played through it. Yeah,
I played through the end. Oh my God. And it's a game that, honestly, I mean, even worse so now, but when I had finished that game, it came up with an epilogue and it says, now the world war thing starts or whatever. And I was like, I've beat the narrative. Why do I have to do all this? And I just thought, you know what? Turn it off, delete it. See you later.
See you.
And I was done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Push Square, they are a very reputable source.
They're first party Sony media.
Yeah. Sort of first party Sony media, yeah. submitted an article saying that PlayStation 5 patent has some fans panicking that Sony are.
I know
what's going on.
It's because you're thinking and reading at the same time.
Some fans panicking that Sony is going to push microtransactions on the player. So Sony submitted this diagram for patent, which is a player conversing with their PlayStation in an LS.
So they've even shown the diagram.
They've shown this
as well.
diagram.
Yeah.
Goes off, does its thing, and it comes back with, this is how other people did it. Now, that's cool if it's just like a database of knowledge of how players have done it, and you can go off and get the design for free. But like you're saying, it's most likely going to be microtransaction. It's not really the first time we've heard about a hypothetical PlayStation guide as the platform has planned something similar to this in the past. The previous example is how certain in-game items can be highlighted on a map and a player told to go get it, pretty much.
Exactly, yeah. This is what Gareth's reading at the minute is the actual. This is the Push Square article.
Yeah.
This is how these guys are trying to make excuses.
Yeah, I'm picking out the kind of key points of this article. I'm trying
absolutely.
to just spewing it out, and then we're going to talk about it. Where was I? So, the new controller is going to have a microphone as well.
Yeah,
that's how you're going to do it, isn't it? That's how you're going to have to do it. It's not like the Xbox where it has that little stupid camera that nobody likes, and that's how you talk to it. It's going to be through the controller.
Yeah. Do you need? No, I don't. Do you need to connect to use the voice
or a microphone? I guess on your headset.
Okay.
PlayStation 4 does have voice commands as long as you use a headset.
Yeah, but I just always remember the Kinect being more intrusive, or the voice commands being more intrusive on the Xbox, and I always assumed that you didn't need to connect to use voice commands. Maybe you do. Okay.
Yeah. And then you've mentioned as well that about a heart rate monitor in it as well.
Yes, there's another controller patent has come out that they're going to put heart rate monitors in the controller. And now this is to provide level, to record stress levels, and it's for the future innovation and game development, so that they can see what items and aspects of games, different scenarios that really raise your heart rate and get you excited.
Yeah, I suppose a thing to say is all these patents that are being filed, they're not going to come into effect tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to come into effect today.
Yeah.
Like, just because they filed these doesn't mean that it's going to happen in the next game that you play.
Yeah.
These are the game companies now being innovative, doing the research and development and finding these cool little niche little things. They're like, let's put our name on it, and then we can work on it.
Well,
for later.
The idea with this patent, the whole sort of monitoring system that Sony are doing, is that they're putting this in and then marketing it at third-party developers, as if to say, come to our console
because we can give you this.
We can give you this monitoring system that will allow you to pump your games full of microtransactions. Which is madness. And it'll be like, if you take this and then what you do is you give Sony a cut of all the microtransactions.
Sony made $12 billion on microtransactions.
Well, from the PlayStation Store,
Sorry, from the PlayStation Store, yes, which was a lot of it
predominantly would have been.
So you're going to have like FIFA.
Yeah,
that's
Fortnite,
whenever you buy FIFA, you basically buy you're basically buying in the Ultimate Team. I mean, you pay the £50 at the start, but you're going to put in, if you play FIFA, you're going to put in like maybe 4 or 5 times that easily over the year. Just buying packs for Ultimate Team. If you play Ultimate Team, that is, I'd say a majority of players do play Ultimate Team. Now the next few pages are just a bunch of diagrams and kind of how it's going to look on the screen, how it's going to kind of work, and so what they've given is like a God of War kind of sketch. So what I'm going to do is, for the video users, I'm sorry audio users, I'm going to try to describe this as best as I can, but video users, I'm going to put the images on the screen and you're going to be able to look at them with us as we talk.
Can I go? Nah.
Yeah, okay. So this one is Atreus and Kratos facing off with a giant serpent. Okay?
Yes.
And in the corner there is a little square, basically with text in it saying, players who use resource E were successful on their first attempt 80% of the time and defeated boss X in about 1 minute on average. Select resource E now. And then the next one is kind of like a description of how resource E is used.
Yep. To give you a little animation to show you this is what you'll be doing.
This is how you use it. And then the next one is it's gone and that's it.
So you can see he now.
Oh,
has
sorry. Yes,
hatchet.
you're right. He now has this upgrade in his Leviathan axe. Or no, sorry. There's a little faded thing in here. Is it like a little bracelet or something he has on now?
If you look, you can see the 1,000. I assume relates to the extra levels or something.
See if you look here.
Yeah, I know. Between the first two, you're kind of looking. It's almost like I spot the difference.
Yeah.
And yes, I have noticed that, but I don't know what that relates to.
Yeah.
But what we have here is the same axe, but with 1,000 underneath it. So
Yeah.
it's the same.
It's
You know,
the
you've
Leviathan axe
basically
with an
just been
upgrade,
given
yeah.
a boost in order
Yeah.
to allow you to beat the game that you couldn't previously beat.
Yeah, so that's how they're going to introduce it whenever you're playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also been screenshots released.
But hold on, just before
Sorry,
we go,
yeah, go ahead.
before we move on, what are they using to describe this? How are they selling this? They're using God of War,
Oh yeah, sorry,
a game that doesn't have microtransactions.
No, a game that has never had microtransactions and never really needed it. I mean, God of War is a hard game whenever you go to like fight the Valkyries afterwards.
Oh my god,
It's
that's
a
wild,
really
isn't it?
hard game after that, but it's a rewarding game, and
Oh,
that's I think that's what a lot of gamers really enjoy about God of War.
Yep.
So there's the casual players that'll play through the story and they're like, that was fucking brilliant. I really enjoyed that story. That was really, really good. And then there's the people that are like, I really enjoyed this to the point where I want to go and destroy everything that I can.
Yes, absolutely.
And I was one of them. I think I fought like half the Valkyries and I got fed up because I couldn't beat one. I was like,
I think I had only 2 left. There was.
How many Valkyries were there? Was 12?
I think there was 12. That was the number came to my mind too. Yeah. Did you go through the?
And then you beat a couple of them in the story, don't you?
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
But did you go to, isn't it called Muspelheim? The one where it's just trials and it's all like lava.
Yes.
And it's just arena after arena after arena,
Yeah.
and it was very like the original. I know this isn't relevant to what we're talking about. God of War is brilliant. I don't care.
Yeah.
The original ones on the PS2. When you beat the game, you were given a sort of arena version of the game where you could just sit and just fight
waves
all
and
day
waves and
long,
waves,
you know,
yeah.
and it was great. And that was the way that they incorporated that into the new version, and I thought that was superb. But this gets really scary to the point where, honestly, because of the way I game, because of what I enjoy, single player narrative driven games, I have already said that my favorite console of this generation was the PlayStation 4, and like the vast majority of people that would say that, it's because of the first party narrative driven games. Right?
You have some of the best games ever made.
And God of War is arguably the best of them all. And these guys,
arguably.
yeah, that's fair enough, but it is arguably, and these guys are using this game
as their example, yeah.
Yes, as their example to sell. Now, it doesn't mean that they're going to add it to it.
And I hope what Sony are doing.
But why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I hope what Sony are doing here is displaying to third-party developers that we already don't like EA and Ubisoft. Come to our platform, we can do this, and they're not going to do it in their own games. Please, for the love of God, just don't do it. It doesn't make sense to do all this work for them not to use it themselves.
They?
Yeah.
Why would they not?
I know there's no reason why they wouldn't, other than maybe we like them. You know, they could become the next CD Projekt Red.
But this is
we
the
love
thing.
CD Projekt Red because they do not fuck you about like everybody else.
No, there's no chance. This is Sony. This is a massive multinational corporation. This is Apple, Google. I don't care.
They're on that level, aren't they?
Do you know what I mean? These guys aren't in the hearts and minds. If you've seen anything from Sony over the last 3 or 4 years, they don't care about you.
That's true. Yeah.
They are the big daddies. They own the industry. We don't have to give you cross-platform. We don't have to give you information about our console. We don't have to do E3. We don't even have to hold PSX. We're Sony, and we'll do what we want.
It's not even
Why
that.
would they not do it?
Do you remember the quote that one of the executives give you? The race doesn't begin until we're in it.
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. That was at the start of the PS3, and they got heavily burnt over that.
They got burnt over that, yeah. But that's their level of confidence.
It's and that's the same thing. That's where they were, because after that generation, the PS2 owned the planet.
Yeah.
So they're like, go ahead, Xbox,
do your 360
go and do
thing,
whatever you're doing. The new PlayStation's coming, and when that happens, you're finished. Yeah. And it didn't happen that way. Now, by the end of the generation, they'd caught up and overtaken them. I did say on a previous podcast, and I'm going to say it now, that Sony didn't lose a generation. But they did. They lost that one. The Wii outsold it.
The Wii outsold it? Yes.
So,
Unless Nintendo are really, really far behind and the Wii was their PlayStation 2 console.
No, well, it was of that generation. It was of the same spec of the GameCube, but it released alongside the Xbox 360.
1.5,
it was there to compete with the PS3, and it did, and it outsold it.
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
But there is, at the minute, I've said before, I love PlayStation. I've played it for 25 years, but I don't like Sony. I'm not happy with Sony. I don't like the way they're doing things at the minute. What do we know about PS5? Like, what do we really, really know? This is another thing.
Nothing, because we did that.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to apologise because the Sony conference wasn't held when we said it was going to be held. But to be fair, an awful lot of the things that we raised have since been leaked and confirmed from Sony. So
we're not that far.
We weren't completely wrong. We were more right than we were wrong. We just didn't get the date of when the actual conference was going to happen. And to be honest with you, if we were putting that information out with no insider knowledge, then I'm sure we weren't the only ones.
Yeah.
And Sony are probably well aware of this.
Yeah.
And that's, and that's maybe why we didn't get it on the 5th of February.
Yeah, so the next kind of diagram we have is how they're going to be kind of displayed in the PlayStation Store. So it's just kind of the things titled recommended just for you based on your playing history.
On the screen now.
Yep. So you'll see the top left, you'll have like chest armor for game 1, a guardian shield for game 1, or you can have like a launch pad for game 3 in the bottom right there. And it's gonna, it gives you like a little caption for each of them. So the launch pad for game 3 is like, players who use this item are 25% more likely to level up to level 42.
Yeah.
Or
so this appears as you're browsing through the store. You don't have a game running at this stage. This isn't the intrusive one that comes up and stops you and goes, stop your game. Here's a thing that you can buy, right? Which is what nobody wants because it ruins the immersiveness of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
This isn't quite as bad. This is, if this is all it was, do you know what? I wouldn't even mind. I wouldn't even mind, as long as these items. I should have maybe mentioned this beforehand. The part of the reason why this is a big worry, if you've played Assassin's Creed, if you've played Shadow of War, you'll know the type of gameplay I'm talking about. These things promote grindy, repetitive, tedious gameplay, because if the game, like, put it this way, why would you make a game like Red Dead Redemption that has a really good story arc, that the pacing's very good, like an Uncharted game or something like that, that ends in about, say, 14 hours, for Uncharted, or I mean, it was 60 for Red Dead, but but let's talk about Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Odyssey could have been knocked out in about 20 hours, and it would have been a very, very good game. But it lasts about 40 or 50. But there's about 30 hours of that. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. And this is it. If I'm Ubisoft and I want to make money, because that's what Ubisoft want to do, why would I make a game that people will pay for and enjoy, and then it's over? When I can make a game that people will pay for, the first 20 hours will be very, very good, and then I'll just take those 20 hours, reskin them, and make you play them again. Reskin them and make you play them again, right? Of course, it adds extra data to the game, but what it also does is it promotes the use of these microtransactions to get you through the sections of the game that you don't want to play. And if you weren't having to play them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, you would want to play them. It's only because they're forcing you to do it over and over again that you then become, I should really buy this. And then this is the other thing with the heart monitor thing. Maybe I'm being overly cynical here, but given what we've seen up to this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the heart monitor is used to determine when users are at their most susceptible, based on your heart rate, so they know exactly when to throw this in your face.
Whenever you're most kind of frustrated or kind of fed up.
So and this is the thing. It's not. It wouldn't be good. Of course, if someone has lost on a boss 6 or 7 times, it's a good indication that they're probably getting frustrated. But if you have that feedback.
And they know
exactly what you're feeling. They'll just shove this down your throat.
We were talking about this
and based on where you are at that point in time, I couldn't blame you for paying the money. They know that you're going to be susceptible to spending this money. This is disgusting.
I know.
I hope this is resonating, because this is crazy shit. It really is.
We were talking just before the podcast about how whenever you go into a boss fight, chances are you're going to lose the first time, and then you're going to learn a little bit, and you're going to get back to it.
Exactly.
And you're going to repeat this over and over and over. You feel good. But the thing is, they're probably going to get to the point where it's like, you've learned enough where you could beat this boss, and now they're like, all right, give them this transaction, see if they buy it. Let's see if they buy it. Come on, give them a chance. And it could be the next one that you win, and you've bought the site, and you're like, oh well, what's the point? I could have beat this guy without it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to get to that point as well, where it's going to get to a point where you're gonna have like a buyer's remorse almost immediately after you do it.
No, absolutely. And I gave you a good example. I was playing through Thronebreaker, and there's, depending on the difficulty level that you select within Thronebreaker, it's a Witcher sort of card game, Final Fantasy VII type thing, but instead of turn-based combat, it's basically Gwent. All the battles are done in Gwent. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll tell you about it at the end. But as you go through this game, there are certain puzzles that are very, very difficult. But if you do enough combinations, you will get it, even without understanding why. But there was one particular that I came upon that I used every combination of cards that was available to me, and just could do nothing to beat this. The game then gives you the opportunity, do you want to just skip this one? And then you'll skip it, the game will continue on, and you'll get the rewards. It doesn't cost you anything, you can just do it. So I hit the button, I can't be annoyed with this, I'll move on. See, when I finished the game, I still had it in the back of my head that I didn't do that one puzzle. It's not a nice feeling.
Annoyed you,
It's not a nice feeling. And so even when like this is the thing. I can't imagine a scenario where someone actually takes advantage of this and feels good about it.
Yeah, no,
it's just it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to suggest too is have a think about this. Game releases in day one, right? There's a certain experience. Over the course of the next 6 months to 12 months, certain play patterns emerge. So an update comes out and a certain weapon that everybody used to beat a certain boss is completely removed from the game. And then when you get to it a year after, and everybody else that played it on day one used that weapon, they put it out and say, 99% of the players beat it with this here. You can buy it
for 99p.
For 99p.
Yeah, that's
and
bad.
you're, that is crazy. And
if they do that,
that's why wouldn't they? That's what this is all. That's a natural progression step, and this is why we need to be on this early, because this will become normalized, and this is what gaming will become, and we can't have that happen.
No, we can't. No.
Do you know what I mean? This is I'm not trying to start some sort of
revolution
or civil rights movement or something like this, but it's highly like I was on a Facebook group this week. And someone put up a meme, and it was actually quite funny. I didn't even know you could. It's probably fake, but somebody contacted Ubisoft and says, "Congratulations, Ubisoft! Grand Theft Auto 5 was such a good game." And they said, "We didn't make it." And he goes, "Yeah, no, you couldn't make a game as good as that." It was just totally savage. I thought it was really funny. Whether or not it was real or not, who knows? But you see the thread. This was a PS4 forum on the Facebook. The entire thread was about 60 people just making excuses for Ubisoft.
Defending them, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going, and I wrote a comment and said, I cannot believe under the current circumstances what that company is up to, that you mindless idiots would just be sitting promoting them. Do you like to play the same shit over and over again? Yeah. Do you like it when a company makes a game and then sells it to you every year for a decade with a different skin on it? It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's absolute nonsense. It's disgusting. Ubisoft, EA, and Activision, and there's more doing it as well. And now it seems Sony's getting into it as well. It's also going to, now this is a side thing, but it's also going to do away with the basically walkthroughs, online walkthroughs and guides.
Yeah.
Because if the experience changes from day one to day 365, then what's the point of a walkthrough?
See, even using a walkthrough, it doesn't sit right with me.
No, I understand.
Do you know what I mean? I've been playing Breath of the Wild, and the first Divine Beast that I did, I couldn't figure it out, so I used the walkthrough, just an online walkthrough.
You feel cheap, don't you?
I do. I felt, see, whenever I got to the end, I was like, didn't really feel rewarded about that. And then I struggled through with the next one. I was like, brilliant, I did it myself. And then the next, they genuinely get a little bit easier as you do it more and more, because you get into that mindset of how the game works.
Yes, I understand.
Instead of just following a guide online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm glad that I struggled with the second one to the point where I kind of caught on, like, oh, this is the kind of quirk and kind of trick to it.
Yeah. So in doing that, it helped you, but you used your own skill and your own knowledge and what you had learned then to progress even further.
Yeah.
So you didn't feel quite as bad.
No, because I used it and benefited from it, but again, it was my own persistence. I could have just fallen back and done it again and then learned nothing from it.
But what the difference that's happened there is they've described to you the format of the game or the gameplay dynamic.
Yeah.
They're not just saying, oh, here's a quick fix, there's a hatchet that'll help you beat this guy.
Yeah,
and then once you move through, that hatchet could potentially become useless.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You know? It's crazy. But there's an awful lot of sort of legal writing here.
So in some embodiments, the window may provide statistical data as to the rate of success and the average time to completion that the community of players registered when using the presented resource. The player is thus provided with communal data relating to the actual effectiveness of the resources played by a community of peers. The player can make a more informed decision to select the resource or not, and can be confident in their selection. In some embodiments, selection of various resources may require a form of payment, for example by using virtual currency or real money. In some embodiments, the selection of various resources may be in the form known as microtransaction, which deal with the relatively small sums of real money. In other embodiments...
So Sony have used the term microtransaction in the patent.
In other embodiments, selection of various resources may not require payment of currency, virtual or real, but the game system may limit the number of resources the player can select. It is also...
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they'll change the experience.
Yeah. It is also contemplated that selection of any resource will result in immediate access and the use of resource to minimize the delay between when a query is submitted and when a solution is made live. Although a window is shown in the embodiment of Figure 9, which was the picture of the God of War.
The God of War, yeah.
Yeah, other forms of communicating the information contained in the window may be used, such as by use of a secondary display, or by audio communication, or by transitioning to full screen display of the window.
So this is them interrupting your game.
Yeah, this is them pausing the game and be like, hey, you're struggling, here's this.
Uh-huh.
Now, if they did it on a loading screen, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Loading screens are typically loading screens because the console can do nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why it's not in there. But they're now going to pause your game while you're playing and say, "Hey, buy this.
I know.
This."
It sucks.
And that's not cool because.
What if you're playing The Last of Us 2? What if you're creeping through the woods as Ellie, and it's really tense and it's so nervous, and there's bad guys everywhere, and you're concentrating so much, and you're just totally sucked into the game, and then bong. Suddenly, by the way, have you heard about this?
Yeah, this is the thing. So whenever I was playing games like The Last of Us and God of War, I sat at my desk with my controller in my hand, just staring at the screen, like the house could have been on fire.
Oh, you're gone and you're lost in the game completely.
Yeah, I just wasn't aware of what was going on with me at all. Like 100%. Around me, I was 100% engrossed in this game, and if I needed to, there's just suddenly times that, oh shit, I really need to go to the bathroom. I'd get up and run to the bathroom, and then I'd come back and be like, right, sat down again, and I'd be like, 5 minutes, and then I'll be back into it. But if this is happening every 10, 15 minutes, the interruptions are just rude.
It's bad.
They're just rude.
Rude is, yeah, it is.
Rude's a polite way to put it.
Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. I mean, you are busy doing something else, and these ones are trying to shove
give me your
potential
money.
Purchases down your throat.
Give me your money.
It's disgusting. This is the same as if you... I mean, no offense to anyone who may be American and watches American television, but in the UK, we don't typically get big bars of ads along the bottom of the screen as we're watching sitcoms. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
But that's normalized in the United States. And as a result, it'll probably end up in the UK at some stage, and it will become normalized because people just accept it. They just
do you know how sitcoms kind of became... like it used to be intro music start and then the show, but then they started putting that little snippet before.
You get an ad.
Now you get that snippet intro of the show, then you get an advert, and then you get the intro. It's like, to us that's mind blowing because we go straight from advert to that small snippet into intro, and then about 5 more minutes of TV, and then
you get one ad
in between the show,
and then
half
an hour.
You get the rest of the ad or the rest of the show, and then another ad at the end.
That's exactly right. But in the States, if you're watching, because when I was in Las Vegas, I was watching a lot of porn stars and stuff. Porn stars.
Jesus.
Pawn stars, right? Yes. Oh my God! It was Las Vegas. I'm not gonna lie.
That's why I was like, whoa.
Anyway, so when you're watching these episodes, it's so crazy because when you go from one episode into the next, you get the start of the episode, you get a break. You get the intro, the actual title screen, then break. Then you get sort of like the show, and then you get a break, and then you get a bit more of the show, and then
you're almost better off watching it on YouTube at that point.
But then you get another break, and then you come back from the break to watch the credits. No other reason.
Oh yeah,
it comes back and it's the credits.
I remember
that. And then you don't get a break. It just goes straight into the next episode. It's the maddest format, and it is obviously all with the view to pushing more and more advertisements down your throat. I mean, I understand how commercialism works and everything else, and this is. It's the same sort of thing. It's the progression of like microtransactions exist, as we've already said. You can go on and purchase digital content through your console. That's all right. That's been there for a long time. But this is a progression into something completely new, where they are interrupting your game to try and shove stuff down your throat. And make no mistake, gaming doesn't belong to Sony. Gaming doesn't belong to Nintendo or Sega or Xbox. It belongs to me and you and Gareth and everybody else. And we can actively stop this by not banning the games.
Yeah. But we don't want to do that. We want to play the game.
Of course, that's not what anybody wants. But at the same time,
it's the only way.
How are we going to prevent something like this from happening? If it's the same as we have said, why do you need a new FIFA every year? Surely a FIFA and then 2 or 3 years of DLC to update the squads, and then actually bring out a new game when there's something to sell.
Substantial to change.
It's a new game. But why would they ever do that when
people buy it every year? Like,
my apologies, idiots, go out and buy the same game every single year, and it just keeps happening every single year. And then they keep pumping money into a brand new Ultimate Team, and it's just mayhem. It's crazy, and it's never going to change while people just accept it.
So
sorry for getting so animated, but this is a big deal. It really is.
The next Yes, the next one. I'm just making sure I'm on the right one. In addition to displaying the predictive value of success in using resource E, the window of figure 10A, which is
it's the later one with
the later one with the little
you've seen him with the wee yoke.
Yep. Also displays a graphic or clip of resource E as it would be used in game. For example, resource E, which is a shield, is shown in action to deflect an attack. The clip of resource E therefore informs the user of how to use the resource, how it looks, and how it changes the state of affairs for them within the video game. In this manner, the player is provided with a qualitative and data of the resource. There's a big word before that, but I'm just ignoring it. Of the resource. In addition, qualitative data is of its effectiveness, both of which enables the player to make a more informed choice. So it's pretty much, this is the part where it shows you how to use the weapon and how to use it to defeat the boss as well.
So again, in the middle of your game, you're sitting watching a video of some animated combat.
Of this item that you can't get in-game being used to defeat this boss that you've sat for half an hour trying to beat.
Yeah, that could potentially have been in the game all along, and someone who played it 6 months previously, you beat the boss and with this item and moved on without ever thinking about it. But because you've come late to the party, it's since been removed because they know they can sell that to you.
Yeah. We'll just go on to the next one because we already spoke about that one a bit, yeah. In some embodiments, I love how they use it. In some embodiments, as if it's not going to be every single.
No.
In some embodiments, there is a transaction between the player.
He's trying to climb the walls. We've got Dougal over climbing. Yeah,
he made that whiteboard noise there with his
He's getting a little bit restless. What's up, little man?
In some embodiments, there is a transaction between the player of their account and the surfacing platform or the video game that enables immediate use of the resource by the player. In some embodiments, the transaction may include a payment by the user, a background change to the user's account, a change of certain credits the user has, etc. So that's a charge of certain credits the user has. Sorry.
Yeah. So the suggestion that some of this could be done with in-game credit, but then obviously there is also the option.
You're going to have to buy this in-game credit, probably.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. Yeah.
It's just another microtransaction, so it's just again more, just more money.
So how that would work then in what they're describing here is something like Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead. Now both of these two single player narrative games have microtransactions in them, but I'm happy with the way that is. That's fine.
I didn't know that there were microtransactions in both those games.
Oh yeah, you can go and buy
single player, and you can buy shark cards.
I don't know what
they're
called in Red Dead because I'd never even bothered looking.
Gold bars in Red Dead.
Is that what it is?
Gold bars.
You're right, it's gold bars. It is.
Well, that's for the online, but I didn't realize that they could affect your single player game as well.
I'll be honest. I assume that they are in the offline game because they are in the offline game in Grand Theft Auto 5. So but the thing is, at no point, the reason why we're so unsure about this is because at no point through those games do you think, God, I may get my credit card out here and buy that horse. You know what's really going to help me get through this game? It's not. You can go and buy in-game currency and then go and spend it, but I have personally never done that for the offline game. I have bought shark cards for the online game because I'm an idiot. But what that does is, it's not. I don't do it because I want to progress in the game or because there's something that I can't do in the game or the game is frustrating me. Tends to be what happens is I'll play Grand Theft Auto for a period of time, and when you go away from it for say 6 weeks and you go back in, everything's sort of new again. You play a lot of stuff and it's great, and then after about 4 or 5 weeks, it starts to get a wee bit tedious again. You need to drop it. You can't play them all the time, so you drop in, drop out. But when you come to the end of the 5 or 6 weeks and you're sort of at the end of all of the exciting stuff that you can do, the new updates or whatever, you'll maybe throw
a wee bit of cash,
a tenner into it, and just to buy yourself a new car, just for something to do.
I was going to get onto. You really like your racing on Grand Theft Auto Online to the point where you'd definitely be like probably top 10% racing. Probably, I'd say. You're really good. You're really good at the racing.
When I'm playing it all the time.
When you're playing it, whenever you're in the flow, you're really good at it. But they'll release a car that's maybe better than the last car, and then those players have a complete distinct advantage playing it with those cars. Now, there's nothing stopping you doing your missions online and earning your money and blah 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 blah. But at the point where you're a better racer than these guys, they just have a better car. It kind of frustrates you to the point where you want that kind of shortcut to get that car.
And this is just me. I'm not saying anyone else is like this, but my win-loss ratio in Grand Theft Auto I'm a wee bit proud of it. It's most people will have a good
win. Negative.
Well, yes, they're all going to be negative mostly. Most people will have a good win ratio would be 1 win out of every 3 races.
Yeah.
So if you have 100 wins and 200 losses, that's really good.
Yeah, you're doing
that's
well.
really really good.
About a
Yeah.
0.5 ratio.
At the minute, I'm sitting at about 970 wins and about 810 losses.
so you're positive, which is
Just
mind blowing. Yeah.
so that's more than
You've won the majority of races.
Yeah, I win more races than I come second. Yeah.
Whereas mine's probably something really crap, like 100 losses and maybe 50 wins.
So what I was getting at there is, in that event where there is a new car and I distinctly know it's quicker, and what I do, because I'm really sad, I don't go by the YouTube videos of guys putting it around a track and stuff. I actually sit and test them all myself. I make a track and I sit, and he'll tell you I sit and rate every single car, and I have remember, like 200 vehicles or something.
You have a lot.
I've been playing it since the thing came out, like, so I've all sorts of stuff, and I will put every single vehicle I have around this track to get the absolute fastest in every class.
And that way you know.
And I know not what's the quickest car, but what's the quickest car for me and how I drive. So, but the good thing is, because I've been playing it so long, I've built up this whole infrastructure in the free roam game, where if I need to get a car for, say it's 3 million, and maybe a night or two of selling stuff, and I've got it. I don't need to do the shark cards. The only time I do the shark cards is in that circumstance, or if I'm just bored. And I'm like, I've spent my money on whatever, and I'll stick £1 million in there and buy myself that little tractor. Just something to do as a bit of crack. Which, in a way, I guess you could say that's similar to the Assassin's Creed tedious gameplay.
Yeah, I guess so. The grinding, but that's online.
But yes, this is the difference. At this point in time, if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto Online getting bored, I've thousands of hours of gameplay behind me. Like, I've been playing this thing since day one that came out in the PS3. But we're talking about an offline game where you're maybe 20 hours into the game, and you've started feeling like this.
That
should never happen.
I have a rule with games that I like to keep, and it's for every pound that I pay, I like to play for 1 hour.
Okay.
So games like Counter-Strike Source, which I bought for like $16.99 whenever it came out, I have maybe 4,000 hours on it.
Yeah.
So
that's great value for money.
Really. I've gotten nearly like half a penny for every hour that I've played. You know what I mean? It's something stupid like that. Whereas games of like, Assassin's Creed, I guess, if you're buying it at AAA price, 50 quid, and you're playing through the entire grindy part, I guess you get it. But I want to enjoy every hour that I play.
It's about quality, not quantity.
Yeah, it's about quality. So Spider-Man, Spider-Man's a bad example, but Spider-Man came out at £50. I got it at a much cheaper price. I waited a lot longer for it before I bought it. But it's a game that I got maybe like 60 hours out of, and I had no problem paying for the DLC to get more of it because I got my value. I've already got my value for money out of that game with the price that I got it for. But that's kind of something I like to stick to. Is every pound that I pay, I like to get 1 hour of play. I think that's fair.
I think that's alright.
I'm not expecting to get these games for free ever, and I don't mind. And I will happily pay for games as long as I can get my 1 hour for every pound that I play. You know what I mean?
No, I understand that. Yeah.
In some cases, there's some games that I don't mind putting a little bit of money into. So like Grand Theft Auto would be one of the games I wouldn't mind putting money into because I've got well over 1,000 hours. Oh,
absolutely. This is it. What about justification for purchasing something like a new hammer for £3?
No.
Do you know what I mean? That's 3 hours of gameplay by that sort of guide.
Pokemon Go is probably the only game that I really put microtransactions into.
Okay.
So I'll buy egg incubators, which is like you spend little stops, you get eggs, and then you put these eggs into an incubator, and for like each egg.
Does this speed up the process of them evolving or something?
So you can only hatch them if they're in an incubator. You get one free incubator, which is cool. You get that permanent, stays there all the time. You can only incubate one egg at a time.
Oh,
so these eggs have
speeds up the process. I see.
These eggs have a value of 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. So you have to walk 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers to hatch them, depending on how far you walk. So each egg has different types of Pokemon in them, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I will pay like.
Does this go by like your step monitor?
Yeah, your step monitor on your phone. Okay. Yeah. So I will.
So there's a way to tease that, surely.
Yeah, of course. But so I'll pay like maybe £5, and I'll get, I think it's 550 credits, and that'll let me buy 5 incubators or something. And that's cool. I don't mind that.
Yeah,
because it helps me get to the point. And I'm playing Pokemon Go pretty much all the time. You know what I mean? It's spinning stops and walking. It's not really something I think about. But that's really the only game that I put microtransactions into.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll be going to the next one.
Go on ahead there, yeah.
So in some embodiments, the resource of the rendered based on a rendering profile for the resource based on the player's attributes.
Go on, read it again.
In some embodiments, the resource, the rendered based on a rendering profile for the resource based on player's attributes. For example, each resource may have a variety of ways in which they are rendered for the video game, depending upon the character that the player is using and depending upon the attributes of the player.
Right, so it's just they're saying the aesthetics of these things may change based on where you are in the game, how you're playing the game, who you're playing with.
Yes, so in one example, a larger character is given a version of shield that's larger, whereas a miniature character is given a miniature version of shield.
Yeah, that's to be expected.
In this manner, the resource is rendered to match the characteristics of the character. Moreover, each resource may have versions that differ in the way they are used and the difficult of use. For example, when selecting a rendering profile for a resource, the player's attributes, including the skill level of the player, play style of the player, and the preferences of the player, are considered. So if you're a defensive player, so say you're doing like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, say you wait for counterattacks and you use a shield a lot, and then your
likely
shield
to
get hit, and then back, you're likely to be provided a better shield. Whereas if you are like somebody that prefers using maybe two-handed weapons, like two-handed battle axes,
this sounds great. I mean, this sounds brilliant. That's exactly what they should be doing. But not for money,
cost,
and not intrusively in your game, and not through removing items from the game.
There's another part here. When a player is more skilled, they may provision with a version of the resource that is of greater complexity and difficult to use, whereas a beginning player may be provided with a version of the resource that is more user-friendly.
So it's going to hit everybody, regardless of whether you're a good player or a bad player. You're going to get this.
If you have like, I don't know, maybe Street Fighter, like say you can put in like good combos in Street Fighter consistently, and you're doing really, really well, then you're going to get something that's harder to use. Whereas somebody who's maybe not as good is going to get something that's just easier to use. So instead of having to do like a big combo, it's just
this eliminates the idea of this will only affect players that aren't very good at games.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does not matter. If you're a pro, you'll still get these things.
Yeah, and you know what? In the back of my head, I was saying to myself, like, I did all right in God of War. If microtransactions were in it, I think I could beat the boss without them. But reading that, nah.
Yeah, but what if? Nah, I'm not saying.
Like God of War is only the example because it's the example pictures. That's what I'm using.
No, I know that. But let's say for talk's sake, there was a specific type of armor that reflected ice, and the boss was an ice boss, and he was shooting ice at you all the time.
A frost troll or something. Yeah.
Some kind of thing, right? And yeah, in the version of the game that you played, you breezed through that because you had the frost armor, and that was grand. What happens when you play it a year later and the frost armor is removed from the game and is only available through a paywall?
That's bullshit. Yeah,
then you're going to have to. Yeah. Then you're going to struggle.
Yeah, 100%.
But then even even if you still are that good at the game where you still breeze through it, they're still going to shove stuff down your throat.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come along and go, oh, here's this new trebuchet that you have to build and set up and do all these things to make it work because you're such a good player. You can buy this for $16.99.
Yeah. So... Next one. So pretty much that last one is just saying that it's
how they're going to tailor.
They're going to change it. They're going to tailor it for each individual player. The next one is, in addition to in-game assistance, the surfacing platform is envisioned to be also. Sorry, the surfacing platform is envisioned to also be useful in the context of a virtual store.
Yes.
A virtual store such as PlayStation Store may have thousands of resources available to players for similarly wide selection of game titles,
which we've seen in the
last one. Yeah, so it is therefore a challenge for players to have an idea of what resources are particularly useful for them. The surfacing platform is contemplated to also be implemented in the context of a virtual store, such that the player is provided with recommendations of particularly suitability to their needs. Figure 11, which is the screenshot that we're talking about there, illustrates a virtual store that implements a surfacing platform. The virtual store is shown to display 4 resources: chest for game 1, shield for game 1, potion for game 2, and a launchpad for game 3. Each of these items is surfaced by the surfacing platform according to the player game data for the games. So they're going to look at your game saves, and basically recommend in these stores.
Yeah. So
again, it's more tailoring.
It is.
It's more personal tailoring,
and it's not intrusive. So you would only see this if you were in the PlayStation Store looking for it.
Yeah, and then the last part is just confirm what I said. The surfacing platform may access the game state data for each of the games.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So if this is all that we're pushing, it's kind of sucks, especially if they're going to use that sort of thing and remove certain items and all that kind of stuff. That could still potentially happen with that model. But in terms of where you need to go to get this, as long as if these things exist and the game can progress fine without these things, providing you're good enough at it,
and
then that's fine. If this is where you have to go to get them, if you have to hunt through the PlayStation Store to find these things,
and the other
then
thing
that's grand.
The other thing about this is they're doing it right is they're tailoring it for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go into the store and you're not going to pay like £2 for an item that you're not actually going to use
or be able to use.
Yeah, they are tailoring this to you based on your game state.
Yeah, well, that sort of stuff sounds okay.
That's fine. It's very obvious what our problem is with it, is that they're stopping you and they're forcing this down your throat.
Potentially changing the game from
It's like having I don't know if I should use this example. It's like having a certain group of people come to your door and try to shove something down your throat that you don't want.
Yeah, and then you just slam the door in their face.
Yeah,
no, I understand. I don't want that. You know, if I want to buy that stuff, I'll go to the shop at the top of the street. I don't need the guy from Tesco banging my door going, "Have you seen these beans?
Have you seen Heinz beans, 50p a can?" Come on.
It's like, mate, I'm in the middle of watching the TV, or I was in the middle of cleaning the house. I was in the middle of whatever, planting a tree. You know,
away on.
Yeah, I'm doing something at the minute. Get out of my face.
The thing is, you can tell him to go and.
I know this is the thing with that. You can't
do this here. You can't.
No, because they'll not give you the ability to tick a box and you'll not see these.
No, this will not be optioned.
No.
So, I think this is the last one. Mm-hmm. This is the last one, and then you've drawn up a little example of what this could look like.
I pulled this from the web, but it's someone else that had who has been describing this. This is much like everything that you get on YouTube. You're not just going to hear us saying this. There's an awful lot of other very, very, very good YouTubers that very knowledgeable and a lot more probably adept in the legal ways. And I totally recommend and urge you to go and find these and read into this, do your own research and learn about this, because it's scary stuff. But
so the last portion of it is in Game 1, for example. The surfacing platform may determine the current state to be prior to engaging with boss X. The surfacing platform may then access the game model for Game 1 or the community data of other players playing Game 1 to identify a subsequent state that the player is likely wanting to advance to. Here, the subsequent state is having defeated boss X. The surfacing platform is then able to identify the resources used to defeat boss X.
Yes.
As a result, the surfacing platform then displays resources, chest armor, and guardian shield to recommended resources for the player to select or purchase for subsequent gameplay of Game 1. The surfacing platform does the same for Game 2, Game 3, and other games the player is involved in. So this surfacing platform is not only looking at where you currently are and what's happened in your game, but it's also looking at where you want to go.
It's using your game data to sell you more stuff at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Whereas I was saying, if you play a game on day one, you might not experience this.
Yeah.
But it will use your own game data to sell you stuff by the sounds of things. So even people who buy games on day one could find themselves being
absolutely,
at a certain point in the game they'll start getting this.
Yeah, because if a lot of players are playing it, and obviously somebody's gonna.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to pull data.
Yeah, it's all gonna be built up fairly quickly. So somebody's gonna beat this boss, and then suddenly 2% of players that are playing have used
exactly
this,
yeah,
and it's like, oh, what's that 2% doing? And then suddenly everybody else starts doing that, and then that data builds up, and now suddenly that 2%'s gone to 50%.
We need to, please guys, everybody and anybody that plays video games, don't allow this to become normalized, please. This is crazy. And that's basically what this comes down to. I kind of feel like I'm some kind of conspiracy theorist lunatic, but see, when you're sitting in 5 years from now and you can't play a game without an ad.
That's the worst. That's the reason I don't play mobile games, is those ads just every 2 seconds.
Yeah, but you can justify it because you get the games for free.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when you go and pay 50 quid for God of War 3?
It's the same thing.
And you're constantly getting ads for nonsense coming up in the middle of your game.
Yeah.
And this is a progression. I'm not saying this is going to happen. It's not described here. I'm just saying that if you're talking about stepping stones and you're talking about progression, how long is it before you're in the middle of playing through The Last of Us 3 and all of a sudden it goes Clash of the Clans in the middle of the game?
Just adverts, yeah.
Actual ads.
A little scroll bar at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
These are all things that this is it is basically a gate or a stepping stone to all of that horrible stuff. Oh. Well, I think
that's unfortunately that's the end of that. But there's really not much to say other than we can't do much until we see what they do with this information.
Yeah, just pay attention, keep aware of this, keep informed about it.
We've done our part. We've let you know.
Yeah, anything I know about this or anything Gareth knows about this, we'll definitely share with you as these games start coming out. If this thing's going to be implemented, we'll let you know about that as well.
There's very good examples of the gaming community coming together and defeating the developers. Battlefront 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Shadow of War.
It's probably the best example, and Shadow of War. I mean,
It can be
we're
done.
not completely voiceless.
Yeah.
Just boycott them. It's the same with Metro as well. And Metro Last Light, was that the last one? No, what's the last? Exodus. It was an Epic
because
Game
it was
Store
on Epic,
exclusive.
yeah.
It's now no longer an Epic Game Store exclusive. It's Steam Store now as well. So
Yeah.
unless that was a certain amount of time, I don't know. But there are victory stories out there of gamers coming together and
They
giving
changed
the middle
Sonic.
finger.
They went back to the drawing board
Well
and
done,
changed
yeah,
Sonic.
that's another really good one. They went back and changed Sonic.
You know?
People do listen, companies do listen,
Yeah.
but only whenever you stop giving them your money.
And tell me this: do you think for a second that Sonic would be turning over anything like the same amount of money had they not changed that?
No, absolutely
There's
not.
no way.
The
There's no way.
investment that they put into redesigning Sonic,
Yes. They've
was
got back.
worthwhile.
They've got back.
Worthwhile.
Because and I know as well from being on video game forums and groups and things like that there, I have seen more than probably 50 posts where people are going, they changed this for us. We need to now go and see the movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a massive amount of that 210 million that they've made is because people have said thank you for doing what we asked. So it's not like we can't provide value to these companies if they do what we ask. You know, we'll go out and buy their games. We'll buy multiple versions of their games because, like, I have like probably 4 or 5 different versions of The Witcher 3. It's amazing. You know, I've spent more money on The Witcher 3 than I have on the entire franchise of Assassin's Creed.
So now that you've mentioned this, so you know how I've been saying I'll never buy The Witcher 3 for the Switch? Well, Williams bought it for the Switch. You get a really cool map.
Oh, damn,
a really, really cool map with it. And some
it's a bigger box.
Yeah, it's in the little cardboard
box,
box, yeah. And the map's really, really cool. And I'm like, I don't want to pay 50 quid for a map, but I might.
Yeah. I haven't played it on the Switch. It's sitting there, but no, I'm probably not going to play it. I don't need to play it. Actually, I started it again last night.
Did you start it?
I actually did. No, yeah. I was sitting playing Pro Evo and I just kind of, you know. But anyway, that's as much as we've got to say on that. This sort of conveniently leads us into, we're going to close it all up here, but we're going to go through a few wee bits and pieces about what we've been doing over the last month and
talk about what we're playing and what we've got over the last month. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as I was saying, like I picked up Pro Evo 2020. It's a game I play. I know it's not a cool one. It's not one people's going to go, yeah, that's a great game.
That's your game. That's what you play.
I've been playing Pro Evo since the PS1, and yeah, it's a format of gameplay I really enjoy, and I follow football, so it suits me. It's nice. It's a nice distraction. The problem is it's not something that you can sit and play for hours and hours on end.
Yeah, it's
2 or 3 matches, and then you need to do something.
Yeah,
else.
it's a game you use to have a break from other games.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
same thing I used FIFA for.
What I was splitting it up with was Thronebreaker, which is I was telling you about earlier on. It's based on the Witcher universe. You play as Queen Maeve from Lyria. Which is it's a little province near Rivia and Temeria and places like that there. It's in the Northern Realms, and the Nilfgaardians are moving northward to take over everywhere. You've been dethroned, and you then travel basically all around the continent and fighting huge battles and recruiting new armies, and it's sort of like an RTS game in the way that you build up your little armies, and you can make new sort of units, but they're cards. You just add them to your deck then, depending on with resources that you've got. The story's very, very good. There's an awful lot of choices in it. Maeve's a really, really cool character, and Geralt appears in it as well. A couple of other characters that you'll recognise. And the Gwent is exactly as it is in the online Gwent, not the way it is in The Witcher 3. And some people might say, I prefer it in the Witcher 3. I do also, but in the context of this game, there's a lot more depth in the gameplay, and if you're going to focus on Gwent and make a full game of it, this is the way to do it. The one that's in The Witcher 3, there's not enough there, you'd get bored of it. Very, 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 very good game. Off the back of that, because I, obviously need something else to split it up. I've also been playing Sonic Mania because I'm on a mad Sonic kick after watching that movie.
After watching the movie,
yeah. Me and my brother went and seen it, and he stayed in my house. And I put on. He had never played Sonic Mania, and it blew his mind. He couldn't believe this is like playing Sonic 2, and it is. So he went to bed. I had work the next morning. He didn't. I get up the next morning, and he was still sitting in exactly the same place, sitting playing Sonic Mania. He said he didn't, but I know him. He has sat up all night sitting playing that. But no, he really enjoyed it, and then because of the whole Witcher 3 Thronebreaker thing, I have now started The Witcher 3 again for the 3rd time, and I don't care.
No,
it's so good.
It's a
so
good game.
Good.
It's definitely
so
worth
good.
playing that much. Yeah.
Somebody came to the door, and Dougal wants to make a friend, and unfortunately the door was locked, and he can't console himself. Hey. There. Hi. Hi, little man. Hi. Oh. Did you not know there was someone at the door?
What games have you bought this month? What have you bought this
I haven't bought an awful lot. I've got an awful lot going on, sort of personally. So I did something I've been looking for ages, was a new Days of Play controller. Shout out to a guy called Lucas, who lives in Lisburn, who apparently buys a lot of broken controllers and repairs them. He had a Days of Play one, and he sold me it, and it works perfectly, and it was £20.
That's a really good deal.
It's
a PlayStation controller for £20 is really good. Never mind a Days of Play one.
Well, that's it. So it's gone straight into my little Days of Play box, and it sits, and now everything's perfect. I don't have to worry, because up until that point, one of the controllers had like a crack down the casing of it when I bought it. So yeah, I didn't realise until I got it home. So I feel much better about that now. Aside from that, I did get Rage 2, the collector's edition. It's not a great game, but the collector's edition's fabulous. Cool, yeah, it's really cool. And because Game were doing it for what, £30?
£30, yeah.
$29.99. I know this was because I had money on my Game Elite card. I didn't realise this. And with that money, I was able to get Rage 2 collector's edition, and also the Guilty Gear 20th anniversary for the Switch. Yeah, the day one. So that was pretty cool. What about you?
So I've been playing the normal Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm still on that game. It's the first Call of Duty I've really, really enjoyed in a long time. I've actually bought the season pass for, or sorry, not the season pass, I think it's called the season pass.
Yes.
Basically, it's like Fortnite. They refresh the seasons every like 50,
understand.
60 days.
Yes.
You pay like, I think it's like $8.50.
What do you get for it? I mean, I can without the season pass, I can still play online, isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to buy the season pass other than wanting to unlock the cosmetics and the silly little items. You get like blueprints for guns, which is basically like they have preset like attachments and stuff on them. They don't really give you any advantage. They're completely available to every other player.
Yeah.
But they're pretty cool.
Man.
That's really
it's kind of like the skins and the
it's just like
the
it's the same like
pickaxes.
Fortnite, which you get like XP boosts, but you don't really get any advantage. You know, if once you get to level 55, your like character game, it resets to level 55 every single season. So if you go above 55, that's fine. You don't actually unlock anything new. And then whenever the
it's just a kudos thing during that season.
Whenever the season resets, you go back down to 55 and you start again.
I could see how that would become a bit of a challenge, sort of personally, because it's a bit like the same format as when you were playing older or arcade type games where you would keep going back and try and beating your score. I could see how people would try and get as high as they can in a season before it reverts back.
And then the battle pass is just about unlocking cosmetics and in-game items. It gives you absolutely no competitive advantage, which I really like. There are guns that you unlock by playing through it. Now, I didn't buy Season 1's battle pass, and what I thought was really good is whenever I went back to look at the gun that I'd missed out on, it gave me challenges that I could do to unlock it. So I think I have to get I think it's 20 or 2 headshots in 20 different matches with an assault rifle. And that's it. Fairly achievable. A little bit of time put into it, and you can unlock that gun again without having to pay for it.
Not too bad, actually.
So fair play to Activision.
I mean, that's the
fair play
thing.
to Blizzard Activision. Fair play to them for that.
It's an Activision game. The what I would expect if you had asked me to describe the format as I would have thought Activision would implement it, would be you can then buy them afterwards for a single fee. You know, but the fact that they're giving you the opportunity, okay, maybe you can see it as a wee bit of grinding, but to me, honestly, that just sounds like gameplay that would happen. Whether you were doing it or not, you're going to eventually get 2 headshots around with an assault rifle
20 times over. Eventually.
You know, you're going to do it eventually. It's not something that you're going to have to put a massive amount of time in. Can't believe I'm defending Activision and Call of Duty here. Like,
you can try it. Compared to a lot.
But it is compared to what we were literally just talking about. This feels like Disney World. You know. So
other than Modern Warfare, I've been playing. I'll leave this one for last. I'll leave the one I was about to say for last because it's one I want to talk about for a bit. I've also just been going back to Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Oh, really?
Again, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I've been playing with the guys I played with for like the last 10, 12 years now, Counter-Strike. I just popped back on and they just started playing again. I was like, yeah, I'll jump on with the boys. And it's not even like we're going into competitive matchmaking and playing against other people. There's like
chat and crack
8 to 10 of us and we're all just playing against each other. You're like doing 4v4, 5v5.
Oh, very
that
good.
Kind of thing.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, it's become a lot of fun because nobody is really standing out as better than each other because we all haven't played in so long. And now we're just having fun with it. So it's really good. And then the last one, the game that I've been playing the most this month is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've owned this game since I've had my Switch, I've had my Switch for about 18 months now, and this is the first time that I'm really kind of investing time into it, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
Really good, yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. Yeah,
good.
It's a lot of fun. It's better than I thought it was going to be, and I think shout out to Philip again for showing me how to play the game.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much, he basically said, you can select what quest you're doing. And it'll give you waypoints, so you're not just randomly walking about trying to find everything. I'm like, I didn't know that. Because I thought it was going to be like the original Legend of Zelda, where you're dropped into a world and you're left to your own devices to find out what you.
Yeah, I have to say I found it. I didn't think Twilight, because the most recent one that I've actually played
was Twilight Princess.
The I didn't find the markers that bad. There were one or two instances where an area that you need to go to is described to you, but you're not given a marker. And in those circumstances, I think once or twice I actually had to do a bit of Googling just to see where I'm meant to go, but generally I thought it felt like a modern game. Whereas, sometimes games, even if they're a bit older, and they don't sort of hold your hand to the way that you're used to in modern gaming, you can kind of feel very retro. But even though that was effectively a GameCube game, it still feels like it. You could release it on the. Well, it came out in the Wii U, so it's.
Yeah, it did come out in the Wii U,
It's a 1080p
It originally came out in the GameCube, Twilight Princess, didn't it?
Yeah, and then you got the. Well, you got the
Wii version, which is the version that I played of it.
No, I played the Wii U. I do have the other ones, but I don't like motion control.
I used the motion control to play that.
I know a lot of people do, and they really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it.
But I believe that Twilight Princess was in development for the GameCube, and then the Wii was coming out, and then I think I'm right in saying that they kind of went back to the drawing board and redeveloped the game for the Wii, and then the GameCube was almost a port of the Wii version and not the other way around, because of how the timing worked out.
Yes, kind of how Breath of the Wild and the Wii U version of kind of, do you know what I mean? Like Breath of the Wild was. Am I right in saying Breath of the Wild was a release game for the Switch, and then it came out with the Wii U version at the same time?
Yeah. So, and it was kind of like that as well for the Wii. So this was a flagship game. Here is the Wii, and here's a new game. But you can also get it on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But the original idea was it was going to be a GameCube game, and then halfway through the process, they focused on the motion control so much, which is why. Almost anybody that plays Twilight Princess with the motion controls has nothing but positive things to say about it. It is it's catered really for game, that model. I played it with the Wii U control pad with the little menu in front of me, and I thought that was superb. See, being able to just access your inventory and change clothes on the fly and all that kind of stuff, I just thought was brilliant. It's something that would really like. A second screen is actually really handy.
Cool, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
see, I had the Wii U for about 2 weeks, and then I went to factory reset it because there was weird things happening with it. Turns out it was homebrewed. I didn't know that, and
killed it. I remember that actually. Yeah.
Now, gladly, I was able to sell everything kind of individually.
I got Wind Waker out of that.
You did get Wind Waker. Yeah. I was able to sell everything individually, and I actually got more than what I bought it for.
By selling all the components individually. That's so funny, isn't it?
I sold the base for parts for like 20 quid, and then I sold the handheld for like 50 quid. I spent like £100 on this thing. Yeah. And then
the games, I think I gave you 15 quid for that.
All the games individually went for about 50 quid as well. So I made actually a little bit of money from breaking my Wii U.
The Wii U's funny. It has never come down properly in the way that the PS3 or the Xbox 360 did. Now, but
I've noticed a few Wii U's going locally for anywhere between £50 to £80 now with a few games. But they're starting to climb again. You see, some of the games are starting to get very expensive. The thing about the Wii U is it wasn't a very successful console either, which in about 10-15 years time is going to make it
worth a lot more. Highly collectible.
Yeah,
highly
absolutely.
Collectible. Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of what I've bought this month, so I'm getting like a little cramp in my leg here.
But you're all right. Don't worry. It's still early in the morning.
Table. In terms of what I've bought this month, I have bought Yoshi's Crafted World for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
I've also bought Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Switch.
Yep.
I bought a Game Boy Pocket with Pokemon Blue and a Game Boy camera.
So you did?
I did buy that this month as well.
You bought it off me.
What else have I bought? To be fair, most of my funds have gone to Pokemon cards.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm a dog now. I'm trying to.
Who you will also meet.
You will meet Zelda at some point. Yeah.
Zelda. She's class. She's a wee dachshund. She's a beautiful wee dog.
You will meet her eventually, but whenever she's maybe a bit older and house trained,
we'll see.
She doesn't piss in the studio.
She's just a little.
She's a wee pupper.
She's only a wee pupper at the minute. Her wee legs are like that length. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Although wait, you see her later on. She's grown a lot since the last time you've seen her.
Aye, but that way.
But in height as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Okay.
Otherwise, I don't think I've bought any other games this month.
Yeah. We have a very exciting board games night planned tonight.
Oh, yes, we do. It's very exciting.
Yes.
So, next episode is the N64 console tour, which we've been working on. We mentioned it briefly earlier on in the episode. So, kind of excited for that.
It's good. It's a fairly big one. We went into an awful lot of. Yeah, this is a deep one. Like now, obviously, there's 400 odd games or whatever for the N64, and we played about
cover them all. Yeah.
We played about 30. You know, it's not going to tell you exactly whether the N64 is a good console or not, but it's a really good starting point. It's a really good sort of flash of it, especially for someone that's never experienced it. And we give an objective view on it. You know, no. He's giving off. I think there might be somebody walking around the hallways outside. He's giving off. There's friends out there, Gareth. I need to see them. I know I see you. I'll come and see you.
A wee bit restless, bless him.
So yeah, the console tour. Look, if you're a Nintendo fan, you'll enjoy it. It'll be interesting. If you've never played an N64, I urge you to watch it because it's informative at least.
It's a good little step forward as well, because this is the first time we've used we used the custom thumbnails for Street Fighter, didn't we? Actually,
we did.
We're just getting onto it. We're starting to get a little bit more savvy with this YouTube business. We're starting to make nice little thumbnails, and we've got some guests booked in, hopefully, for the next month or so.
I've already spoke to a very, very interesting guy who used to develop for a company called Dented Designs that were actually based in Northern Ireland. They put out a lot of ZX Spectrum games. If you want to Google the company, the guy's name is Hard Church. He is also the guy that
donated the prize that we're about to give away.
Donated or... Okay, welcome back. There was a little clip there. The reason why is because we've decided to do the draw separately. And the reason why is because we understand that this is quite a lengthy podcast, and some people, hopefully not most of you, may just want to see the competition. So what we've done is we held it, and we have a winner. And if you watch the video that would have went up last week when we recorded this, you will know who the winner is. We did also have to change the format of how the draw was done because the little algorithm that we had didn't exactly work as we had planned. But with that in mind, once again, thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed, that watches this regularly. If you've made it right through to the end, thank you so much. It means absolutely everything. The amount of time and effort that me and Gareth put in this, we really do.
It's a lot more than people might think.
And we really, really appreciate it.
And we enjoy doing this as well. We
wouldn't do it otherwise. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing this for likes. I'm not doing it for popularity or anything. But it's just nice to know that what you're doing, people are appreciating.
Yeah,
that's really all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you so much for all that. But well, with that in mind, I think that's us for this week. You'll get the N64 console tour as previously mentioned in 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
And then I think it's am I right in saying it's this?
That'll be the news after that at the 2nd of April.
2nd of April.
Yeah, you'll get 2nd or 3rd of April. One or the other. The Friday, whatever one of them's the Friday.
So format being middle of the month, you'll get a feature. Start of the month, you'll get news. But that's us for this month. Thank you very, very much if you've got it all the way to here. And we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Thanks for watching, guys.